Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is an alpha werewolf in Konoha. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by KindaBreezy and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 0. It all begun. It all begun in darkness. Cold, unfriendly darkness. From that dark void, a light appeared. That light brought forth life. All the gods were created from it, and from the gods, the world was born. They created 3 worlds, Bukai or heaven, Makai or hell and Ninjenkai or world of the living. After the worlds were created, unbreakable laws were created, laws of time, space, universe, life, death and laws for the gods themselves. Finally, they created man and placed him in Ninjenkai to live. Ninjenkai was the world of the living. It was a world of many landscapes, from seas and deserts to forests and mountains. They were inhabited by many different beings, but one was most prominent, the man. They had the greatest potential, along with greatest power. In the human world, some gods lived as well. They were named the elementals and took the form of elements, natural phenomenons, the weather, objects and even living beings. Once the time for humans was over, their bodies would be destroyed with time, and their souls would be trialed to see where they would go, depending on their way of life, heaven or hell. Heaven was the world souls went if they lived their life with good in their mind and actions. Heaven was a world sitting on top of the clouds, with buildings of marble and gold and an air of purity. It was guarded by a race superior to the humans, the angels, and ruled by the holy deities, gods of heaven. The angels were human-like beings, the only exception in appearance were the halos in their heads and bird wings on their back. They were also far stronger and smarter than humans. Their task was to follow the orders of the deities and protect heaven. Holy deities are the names of the gods living in heaven. They each rule over a small part, but only 5 got total power, one of which is absolute. Their names are Kami the goddess of light and creation, Yami the goddess of darkness and destruction, Shinigami the god of death and souls, Izanagi god of men and Izanami goddess of women. Those 5, along with the rest of the holy deities, made the celestial council, its purpose the regulation of heaven. Hell was the opposite of heaven, a barren wasteland of fire and ashes, with buildings of iron and obsidian. It was the places condemned souls went. It was inhabited by demons, evil beings ranging from monsters to transformed souls, so demons didn't have a set appearance, besides the fact it was usually scary. Hell was split in 9 different sections called levels. From levels 1 to 8, a hierarchy system was created, depending on the demon's power. The absolute authorities were the demon titans and the demon kings. Demon titans were the 5 strongest gods of hell. They were Mephisto, Diablo, Lucifer, Samael and Satan. The demon kings were the lower level gods, or in some cases, demons strong enough to take on gods. Below them were the demon lords, each ruling a part of hell, the demon knights, commanders of hell's armies and normal demons. But what of the 9th level? What was that place? To answer that, we need to find about another god, one whose very existence could alter every law built by the other gods. That god was the Shinju, otherwise known as the god tree, god of time, space and will. It was originally a god who took the appearance of a seed, but it managed to absorb the mystic light that gave birth to him and the other gods, and its power grew to unimaginable heights. The Shinju resided in Ninjenkai, where it was worshipped. After a millennia, it created a fruit which was forbidden to be touched. However, during that time, humans struggled at an endless war with each other. Then, a human princess, named Kagayu Tsutsuki, approached the Shinju and pleaded for its fruit. The Shinju, impressed by her courage, allowed her to grab a bite from the fruit. She gained incredible power and ended the worlds. However, she grew mad with power and considered herself above the Shinju. Enraged at this, the Shinju battled her, forced her to see her arrogance, which led to her downfall. However, before her death, she used all her power on one last curse. I swear on my dying breath, you will walk this land, unable to control your full power and consumed by rage. Only one of my descendants will be able to control you. Until then, you will remain a shameless beast, a fallen god. But before the curse could fully take place, he used his quickly declining power to alter the curse into a prophecy. He made sure that he wouldn't be controlled by her descendants. Instead, he made sure that all of his power would pass on to one of her descendants, the one to uphold his will. His legacy. With that last thought, the Shinju was at only 1/100th of his full power and became the Juubi no Okami, harbinger of death and destruction, king of hell and god of chaos. The rest of his power was sealed with his will, except one part, the strongest, was sealed in the 9th level, along with his spirit, waiting for his successor. The rest, as they say, is history. With time, the events prior to the seal of the Juubi changed, however everything after that was known. The Juubi was split in 9 beasts by the Sage of 6 Paths, each ruling a part of the world. Shinobis started rising, fighting bloody wars. The eras passed, Bijuu were getting sealed, and war was a regular thing. Every Bijuu has been sealed, even Kyuubi, the strongest of them. It seemed that the prophecy would never come. However, on the fateful night of October the 10th, events were put into motion for the return of the king. Konoha. It was morning in the Hidden Leaf village, the sun yet to rise, the residents sleeping peacefully. Only few were up, the Anbu of the Hidden Leaf, the true shinobi, protecting their village from the shadows. On top of the Hokage monument, a lone figure sat on top of the head of the Shodaime. He stood at 5 feet in a kneeling position, observing the village. He had spiky blonde hair with a few black streaks in them. His facial characteristics were obscured by a wolf-shaped mask. He wore the standard Anbu outfit, black shinobi pants, Anbu sandals, sleeveless shirt, and Anbu vest and limb protective gear. An adachi was sheathed in his back. The figure exhaled slightly as a few rays of light fell on his face. Sunrise, he thought. He stood up and jumped off the monument, soaring through the air, arms and legs open, his direction the Hokage Tower. Time to report. He thought. Chapter 1. From Anbu to Genin. Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen was behind his deck inside the Hokage's office. The Hokage office stood on the top floor of the Hokage Tower. It was a circular room, red in color. On its right side it had a small leather couch with pictures of the Hokages and some of the greatest ninja on the walls. On the left side was a large bookcase holding different colored scrolls. There was also a small desk for the mission assistant whenever one was needed. Opposite of the oak door stood the Hokage's desk, a large desk made of mahogany wood with different files and writing instruments on it. There was also a large leather chair. The room had large windows illuminating it. It was certainly an office that made you look and wonder the first time you enter. Sarutobi was the Sandaime Hokage, known as Kami no Shinobi for his amazing power, a high S-rank ninja. He was also known as the Professor due to his large amount of wisdom and knowledge. He was trained by the 2 previous Hokage, survived all 3 great shinobi wars, and led Konoha through 2 of them. Despite his old age, the only thing that he has lost is his endurance. His skill and strength were still there. In short, he was a powerful figure, respected across all the world. However, despite all his knowledge, power and experience, he could simply not solve the mystery that stood in front of him. His eyes were filled with sadness when gazing at the kneeling Anbu in front of him, yet pride was there as well. Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto was a prodigy not seen for 100 years. Despite being only 12 years old, he held the prestigious rank of Anbu Captain, the 4th highest military rank in the village, besides Jounin and Anbu Commander, and of course his own. A boy of such skill and expertise, he was known in the bingo book as the Akami no Shai, the Wolf of Death, for his killing abilities and his wolf mask, with a high A-rank status. The boy, no matter how much he wanted to deny it, was a weapon of death, a true assassin, a perfect shinobi. He excelled everywhere he tried, ninjutsu, taijutsu, jinjutsu, you name it. He held the record of most S-rank missions done in a single year. He was considered by many even stronger than Itachi Uchiha, and if he wasn't an Anbu, a potential Hokage candidate. At ease, Wolf. Take off your mask. He said, with a commanding tone. The boy raised himself, taking off his mask and hanging it on his belt. Hiruzen's eyes were filled with sadness as he looked at the boy. He wore a face mask that hid most of his features except his eyes. Those crystal blue eyes, devoid of any emotion, though Hiruzen knew it was just a mask. He knew well enough that if the boy released all of his contained emotions, Konoha would suffer so much damage that it would take 5 generations to heal. He went from his eyes to his hair, a few bangs falling down, one with black tips. How are you, Naruto? He said in grandfatherly tone. I am well Hokage-sama, thank you for asking. He merely replied. Hiruzen frowned. I said at ease Naruto. You don't have to be so formal, he said pleadingly. Naruto simply nodded and made his way to sit on a chair. I trust you didn't have any trouble in your latest mission, despite the report you gave. Naruto merely shook his head no. It was a piece of cake. Hiruzen nodded, then placed his arms in front of the table, while crossing his fingers. I have a mission for you, but it is more like a favor. Naruto merely raised an eyebrow, grabbing an apple he unsealed from a scroll. As he was about to bite down on it, he heard the next words I want you to enroll into a genin team. He stopped and tilted his head, please tell me you're joking. The Hokage shook his head no. Please hear me out. He merely took a few quick bites off the fruit and threw it at a trash can. I am listening. He plainly said, crossing his arms. Hiruzen nodded I want you to become a member of Team 7 and monitor Uchiha Sasuke. As you know, he said while taking an envelope Uchiha Itachi massacred the entire Uchiha clan. He got a nod in response. We fear he may suffer from psychological problems, thus we want you to monitor him, and if his behavior is deemed a threat for the village, you have clearance to arrest him. Naruto merely tilted his head, and why can't his sensei do it? Hiruzen sighed Naruto, you are my best Anbu. But it is about time you became a normal ninja. I cannot add you to the crawl list without you being a normal genin. He merely looked at him, his eyes gaining a gold tint for a second, his pupils turning to slits. Tell me, Saratobi, you really think I need you or anyone's help to restore, or better yet, create my clan? He replied. Hiruzen stuttered for a second and no, Ju he went to apologize, but Naruto merely shook his head. Don't call me that, not here, not now. Hiruzen sighed. He knew about Naruto's fate, how couldn't it he? He was there when it happened. Naruto sighed, gaining his attention. Fine, I will do it. I only have a few demands. He said, narrowing his eyes. First, do not instill any girl on me. You may set up marriage contracts and the sort, but I need to see them and approve them. Hiruzen nodded. Second, I want my inheritance, all of it. He said with a smirk. Hiruzen tried to talk, but he was cut off. My terms are non-negotiable. And I expect it to be heard in the entire village. Hiruzen merely sighed and nodded. Third, do not expect me to take orders blindly from either the team sensei or the council. Fourth, once I am a Chunin, I want a seat in the council. He nodded. Anything else? Naruto thought for a moment. 10 favors from you. Hiruzen widened his eyes. Please reconsider, Naruto. I cannot do that. Naruto then smirked. 15, in exchange for the secret to beating paperwork, which made Hiruzen look like a ghost. Paperwork. The bane of all cages. A demon worse than the Kyuubi, more powerful than 100 Anbu and as unavoidable as death. Its mere existence sent shivers down his spine as he watched horribly use his skill to multiply every moment. It was unavoidable, unstoppable, unbeatable, and yet this child said it had the secret. Instantly, he fell on his knees with tears in his eyes. Please Naruto-sama, grant the slave's desire. I will give you 20, number 30 favors, with only limit my position. He cried. Naruto nodded. Done. Give me the details of how to start and I will give you the secret before I leave. He raised himself, coughing. Right. Go to the academy at 10 a.m. in 2 days. You will get instructions there. Naruto nodded and went to leave, but Hiruzen coughed to him. Naruto, the secret. He pleaded. Naruto turned with a smirk and asked, what am I? He said and exploded into smoke. Hiruzen tilted his head. Cage Bunshin. Then he widened his eyes. He went to a drawer and grabbed a piece of paper that said bang here. In red. He placed it on the table and banged his head on it with force while yelling Baka. 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 Causing the hidden Anbu to sweat drop. Anbu headquarters. It was late at night in the Anbu headquarters. However, tonight was a special night. For one, it was one of their vacation nights. A night where they could eat, drink and enjoy life with their fellow Anbu, but without a mask. Also, it was the day where the legendary wolf would leave Anbu. Thus, a celebration for his retirement was in order. Everywhere, you could see Anbu spending their night with grins on their faces. Some challenged each other to drinking contests, some to arm wrestling, and even some trying to hit on girls or boys. In a corner table, stood Naruto, drinking from a flask filled with sake, thinking about today's events. From Genin to Anbu, huh? That's quite a success story for the heir of a god, if I do say so myself. He inwardly snorted. I wonder who the teacher will be. Probably Haddock to help the Uchiha with the Sharingan. I wonder if he knows who I am. Like I care about that dog's opinion. He said, frowning. He wasn't quite fond of Haddock after he found out his relationship with his father. He shrugged off those thoughts as he saw Yamato approach him. He gave a nod to him. Commander-sama. Yamato shook his head with a smile. Don't be so formal, Naruto-kun. Tonight's a night to relax after all. He said and sat down, sipping sake from his own flask. He merely nodded and looked forward. Okage-sama told me what you will do. How do you feel? Naruto shrugged. It doesn't matter. At best it will be amusing. At worst it will be a vacation. He replied. The craw is all that interests me. I want to see if Hokage-sama has learned anything from those books. Yamato turned to him. Like you don't read them? He accused, earning a snort that is irrelevant. Righty then smiled and extended his arm. I will miss you, Gaki. Know that if you need anything, the entire force will back you up. He turned to him and shaked his arm with a grin. Thank you. If you need help straightening recruits, give me a call. Yamato nodded, then stood and went to join the rest of the Anbu. Naruto took one last gulp, then went and joined him as he thought, I will need a new wardrobe as well. Hokage Tower. Naruto walked inside the Hokage Tower early in the morning. He wore an attire similar to his Anbu uniform, without the protection gear. He also had a holster on his right thigh. Finally, he had a blue forehead protector around his neck. As he approached the office, he sensed 2 chakra signatures, so he stopped and waited. After a few minutes, an elderly man came out. He had black shaggy hair and one coal-black eye, the other wrapped in bandages. He wore a white shirt with a black robe. His right arm is concealed inside the cloak and he had an oak cane. He looked at Naruto with envy and slight anger, but also respect. Namikaze-san. He said, then walked away. Naruto ignored him as he entered. He bowed to the Hokage-sama. He said. Hiruzen looked at him with a smile. Welcome, Naruto-kun. I trust you are here for your inheritance. He got a nod in response. Very well. He said, rising and giving him a scroll. That scroll holds the location to the estate along with your parents' joint bank account. I suggest moving the money to your private one, but it's your call. He replied with a smile. Naruto merely nodded and thanked him. He turned to leave but stopped. Does the team leader know my real identity? Hiruzen nodded. Indeed, he knows. He is Kakashi, I assumed that already. He interrupted. Hiruzen nodded. By the way, the people will know about you at noon. He didn't say anything as he exited the building. What will I do with him, he muttered, then waited for his next appointment. We now find Naruto walking down to the shopping district, the streets almost empty. Let's see. I need to get some clothes and stock up on supplies. He thought. Who knows if my parents had a vault? It doesn't matter. I made the designs and plans for a new house last night. I need to give them to the building company. He thought as he approached a shinobi store. Higurashi weapons. Ha, I heard from some Anbu this is the best store in the village. Worth a shot. And with that he entered. He noticed a gruff man coming out of a door. He stood at 5'7" and possessed broad muscles. He had dark brown hair tied into a ponytail and brown eyes. He also had a goatee. He wore a white shirt with a leather apron, black trousers and brown leather boots. Behind him came a girl around his age. She stood at 5'3", had hair the same shade as her father tied into two buns and light brown eyes. She wore a pink Chinese-style shirt, green hakama pants and blue shinobi sandals. The man approached him. Greetings. My name is Goro Higurashi. May I help you? Naruto nodded. Greetings. I would like these. He said and gave him a tiny scroll. Goro raised an eyebrow and as he read his eyes widened. 1000 kunai, 1000 shuriken, 200 fuma shuriken, 100 windmill shuriken, 500 needles, 200 meters of ninja wire, 300 sealing scrolls, 10 ninja pouches, 5 shinobi sets of equipment and 3000 explosive notes. You are going for war? Naruto tilted his head. I like to be prepared. Can you even afford these? He merely nodded. Both father and daughter were like a fish out of daughter. Anything else? Naruto looked around. I will buy some clothes. Goro nodded. I will go gather your things. Tenten help him with anything he needs. He said going downstairs. Tenten simply nodded while he searched through the stock. He eventually grabbed a few clothes and went to the dresser. As he came out, all Tenten could do was sport a major blush. He now wore a white muscle shirt with a red wolf in the back that hugged him tightly, defining his muscles. For trousers, he chose navy blue pants with red flames licking the bottom with pockets for scrolls. He also wore white shinobi sandals and a blue face mask. Is it good? He asked with an amusing smile once he saw her face. All she could do was nod. He bought 5 copies of the outfit along with some casual clothes. As he came to the counter, he saw that below were some sets of trench knives made of chakra metal like the ones of Asuma Saratobi. He bought 3 pairs as well. By then, Goro came back with a large scroll. Alright, along with the clothes and those knives, it shall be around 10,575.000, Ryo, he said. Naruto nodded and took out a scroll. It was blank except a blank circle. He took out a brush and ink and wrote that number. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared and the exact amount of Ryo were set in a wooden plank. Both Goro and Tenten had their eyes widen as he simply took the scroll and sealed it inside a smaller one and went to exit. However, she heard say wait. What is your name? He stopped for a moment. Namek is Naruto. He said and left. Alright. This is the next stop. He thought as he entered a building. Inside, he found 5 people behind desks addressing both civilians and shinobi. He passed them and went up the circle floor. He passed a few doors and went inside an office. The person inside rose once he heard a cough only to see Naruto. With a smile he said, "Ah, Naruto-san, I was expecting you. You said you wanted a house to be built." He grinned. Well, yes and no. A castle would be a better word. But you got any area capable of such a building, Amon-san? Amon was a man standing at 5'5", with brown hair and blue eyes, with freckles on his nose. He wore a white shirt and brown pants, with blue glasses. He merely looked at him. Do you even know how much a castle is worth? He merely shrugged. I got money. Amon sighed. Yes, we actually do. Though just for you to buy the area would cost 100 million Ryo. I got the money. In fact, here. He said, writing a number. I will give you the plans, you use this account to pay for all the things required. He looked at the number and sighed. How do you want it? He said. Naruto placed a scroll down and exited with a smirk. Amon shook his head, only to choke on air once he saw the details of the house plans. It was early in the morning. You could see Naruto in his usual outfit walking down the road. Only he now had 2 ninja pouches on his thighs, his trench knives in an X. On the back of his belt and a chikudo tied behind his back. He came to a stop outside the ninja academy. With a shrug he entered. Let's get this over with. He muttered, his blue eyes appearing icy blue. Chapter 2. Genin. Konoha Academy. It was a great day for the newest generation of genins in Konoha. Today marked the start of their epic journey in the world of shinobi. However, only one thing was discussed: last day's events. The Sandame Hokage made a statement that shocked everyone in the village yesterday noon. He proclaimed that the Yondaime Hokage, the hero of the village who stopped the rampage of the Kyuubi, had a son, named Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. While the younger generation were curious, the older simply widened their eyes in realization. He said he was training in secret and now is the time for him to become a genin. The new generation were very curious to the identity of this boy. Gossip was flying everywhere. Suddenly, the door opened and silence fell in the class. Naruto looked at the genin and tilted his head to the side. Then, dozens of screams were heard and a wave of fangirls surrounded him. "You're so cute. You look so smart. Marry me please. Give me babies." At the last one he simply sweat dropped. Then, a chunin came inside. He stood at 5'6", with brown hair tied in a ponytail and dark brown eyes. He also had a scar running across the bridge of his nose. He wore the traditional Konoha chunin uniform. He looked at the commotion and used his big head jutsu silence. "Go to your seats," he yelled, making every kunoichi return to their seats, freeing Naruto. He then smiled on Namikaze-sama, "Please take a seat," he said. Naruto looked at him for a moment, then disappeared and reappeared on a seat next to the window, making every fangirl sigh from adoration, while getting looks of hate and envy from the boys. He paid them no mind though. Instead, the moment Iruka started his speech, he simply turned to look at a girl beside him. She had long brown hair and light brown eyes. She wore a yellow clip in the shape of two circles on her hair. For her outfit, she wore a pink kimono held by a pink sash and violet baggy pants. Beneath the kimono, she wore red mesh armor. She also sported orange ninja sandals for footwear. She is cute, he thought. She noticed him staring and blushed. He merely grinned, causing her to blush more. However, he stopped and raised his arm to stop an eraser. "Namikaze-sama, please pay attention." He turned to him, narrowing his eyes, causing Iruka to gulp and continue. Naruto then examined each clan heir. We got a Nara, an Akamichi, a Yamanaka, a Hyuga, an Inyazuka, an Aburam, a member of the Haruno civilian clan Ug, and of course the Uchiha. God, does he look like an emo. He stopped his inside ranting when he heard Iruka announce the Team 7 Sasuke Uchiha, Haruno Sakura. A scream of happiness was heard. And Namikaze Naruto. Then a crash was heard. All class turned to look at Naruto, who had punched the wall, making spider cracks, his eyebrow twitching. "Oh, here's and you will pay for this." Iruka sweat dropped and continued. Team 8 Hinata Hyuga, Aburam Shino and Inyazuka Kiba. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10 Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. Causing a whine to be heard. "Why those two?" From Ino. Team 11 will be composed of Yakumo Kurama and Sai, and they will be a support team. "Wait for your teachers to pick you up. I wish you all good luck," he said proudly. Then, 3 people shunshined. One was a beautiful woman with black hair and red eyes. "Team 8. With me," she said. The second was another woman with short purple hair and light brown eyes. "Team 11 with me. Move it, maggots," she said with a grin that sent shivers down the genin's back. The last was a man smoking. "Team 10 with me," he said boredly. Eventually all the students except Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. Naruto turned to look at his team. Sasuke had black hair resembling a duck's rear and coal black eyes, like most Uchiha. He wore a high-collar blue shirt, white shorts and blue ninja sandals. Sakura had long pink hair and emerald green eyes. She wore a pink kipao dress, dark green biker shorts and blue ninja sandals. She was currently trying to convince Sasuke to go on a date, causing him to ignore her. 2 hours passed, causing his eyes to twitch, while the others were also pissed. Suddenly, he stood up and went in front of the door and fell into a stance ready to kick. Then, the door opened and he sent his leg forward, causing a scream of pain to be heard. Naruto shunshined while a white-haired man, with one obscured by his forehead protector, wearing a jounin uniform, fell on the ground, holding his jewels. "Ow. Meet me on the roof." "Ow," he said painfully while also shunshined, causing the other 2 to run towards the stairs. Once the 2 reached the roof, they saw Naruto leaning on the wall, his arms crossed, while Kakashi had an eye smile while scratching his head. "Alright. Let's introduce ourselves. Tell me your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams." Sakura looked at him. "Sensei, why don't you start so we know how to?" Kakashi looked at her, thinking along with the other 2, how is she the top kunoichi, but started nonetheless. "Alright. I am Hada Kakashi. I have many likes and dislikes. My hobbies, you don't need to know. My dream, you will find out one day," he said with an eye smile. "All he told us is his name," thought Sakura and Sasuke until they heard Naruto speak. "You are Hada Kakashi. You like porn and dislike people who don't like porn. Your hobbies are reading Icha Icha, and your dream is to star in an Icha Icha movie, smirked Naruto, causing Kakashi and the rest to widen his eyes. He then sighed. Since I started, I might finish. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. I like training, combat, strong women, cigars, porn and Korra. I dislike weak women, fangirls, annoying people and arrogant shits. My dream is my own. He said. Sakura glared at him when he said porn. Well, Kakashi smiled but raised an eyebrow. What is Korra? All he got in response was Naruto raising his arm, revealing a red tin can with the name Korra and white carbonated soft drink. Buy it some time. He replied, taking a sip. Kakashi turned to Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like looks at Sasuke. My hobbies are stares at Sasuke, blushing. My dream is squeals while looking at Sasuke. I hate Ino Pig. She finished with a scowl. You like Sasuke, your hobbies are stalking Sasuke, your dreams are to marry Sasuke and have his children. Naruto said, causing her to glare at him. He earned a laugh from Kakashi, who turned to the last member. I am Sasuke Uchiha. My likes and dislikes are none of your business. I have no hobbies and my dream, no, my ambition, is to kill a certain man and revive my clan. Naruto interfered once again. You like tomatoes, training and bragging about Uchiha. You dislike everything happy and non-Uchiha. Your ambition is to kill your brother and make more Uchihas to annoy the world. He grinned, causing Sasuke to glare at him, while Kakashi laughed harder. Alright. Now that this is over. Meet me tomorrow at 9 outside of Training Field 7 to get the Genin test. Kakashi-sensei, we are already Genin. Sakura questioned. That was just a test to weed out the people unworthy of being Genin. Tomorrow will be the actual test. I suggest not to eat or you will puke. Jana. He said and disappeared, Naruto mimicking him. Sakura turned to Sasuke and said, Sasuke-kun, do you want only to see him leave, causing her to sigh. Training Ground 7. You could see Sasuke and Sakura scowling. They came at 9 AM and have been waiting for 3 hours. Suddenly, Kakashi showed up, causing her to yell, you're late. Only to get hit by a tin can of Korra in response. They looked up to see Naruto on a tree branch, drinking yet another can of Coke. He got down. Let's get this over with. He muttered. Kakashi took out 2 bells. The goal is simple. You must each grab a bell or you will go back to the academy. Take it from me with the intent to kill. He said, tying them to his waist. But sensei, there are only 2 bells. She asked, causing him to nod yes. One of you will go back. Now you got 1 hour. Begin. He yelled, causing Sasuke and Sakura to hide. Only Naruto stood there, crashing the tin can and putting it down on the ground. Naruto, we begun. Naruto simply cracked his arms and neck, then fell into a stance. Don't die. He said and kicked the tin can, which flew with terrifying force towards Kakashi, causing him to duck. The tin can buried itself inside a tree. Are you trying to? He asked but stopped to duck under a dozen shuriken from Naruto. Yes. He yelled and jumped towards him, sending an axe kick to his face. Kakashi brought his arms up, stopping it. A shock wave was released as the ground cracked. Kakashi pushed him and jumped back, only to have to dodge Naruto, who rushed towards him, attempting to hit him with his shoulder. Instead, he hit a tree, causing it to fall. Kakashi widened his eyes and shunshined 100 meters back. Looks like I need to get serious. He said, uncovering his Sharingan eye. How does he have my clan's bloodline? Sasuke glared from his hidden spot. Wow. Sakura thought from hers. Naruto merely grinned, releasing chakra. I believe I scored Taijutsu, so let me try ninjutsu. He said, quickly forming hand seals. Wind release. Vacuum sphere. He exhaled blasts of wind, causing Kakashi to dodge most except a few who sliced his legs, blood gushing out. He growled and formed hand seals himself. Fire release. Phoenix Sage Flower. He spat out small fireballs and fused them with shuriken. Once the shuriken were a few meters, Naruto did a simple hand seal wind release. Great breakthrough. He released a gust of wind so strong that it extinguished the fire and threw back the shuriken. However, Kakashi wasn't done. Fire release. Grand Fireball. He threw a giant fireball at Naruto, causing him to counter with a water release. Water Shark Bullet. A giant shark made of water rushed and extinguished the fire. Suddenly, Naruto appeared in front of Kakashi. Lightning release. False Darkness. He spat a spear of lightning which pierced Kakashi, but he turned into a log. How about Genjutsu Demonic Illusion? Tree Binding Death. A tree warped around Naruto, from which Kakashi appeared and put a kunai in his neck. Give up. He said, which caused Naruto to smirk. Suddenly, a wave of chakra flooded the area, which broke the Genjutsu and caused Kakashi to stumble back. Naruto rushed at him and muttered, lightning release. Flash Pillar. A bright light appeared around him, which blinded Kakashi. He felt several punches to his ribs, along with a cry of mega kick. And got hit in the stomach so hard that he fell to the ground. Once he rose and could finally see, Naruto was nowhere to be found. Sasuke scowled. I won't lose to him. He whispered. Kakashi looked up to see kunai coming his way. He used Kawarimi only to see Sasuke rushing at him. They engaged into jutsu as Naruto appeared behind Sakura PSS. Sakura. She attempted to scream, but he placed his hand over her mouth. Be silent. She nodded and looked at him. We should team up. That is the point of this test. She shook her head scoffing as if. Just watch as Sasuke-kun beats him up. Naruto sighed and simply disappeared. He reappeared on a tree to see Sasuke panting while Kakashi read his book. I won't lose. He yelled going through hand signs. Fire release. Grand fireball. Causing him to spit out a small fireball in a continuous stream. When he stopped, he heard Kakashi. I didn't think a genin could do such a jutsu, but it doesn't matter. Konoha's secret technique. He said putting his hands on the tiger symbol and plunging them in Sasuke's rear. 1,000 years of death. Causing a cry of pain to be heard as Sasuke was launched to the air, causing Naruto to sweat drop. He actually did it. Sakura simply gawked. She went to her Sasuke-kun only to see him full of kunai. Sakura help, he said, and passed out, causing her to faint and Kakashi to sweat drop. That was an E-rank Jinjutsu and she failed to see it, he muttered and heard the timer go off. Sasuke and Sakura were on a post, glaring at their sensei as Naruto twirled the kunai around. I must say I am disappointed at you too. Sakura, Kakashi said seriously, you fell for an E-rank Jinjutsu and showed absolutely zero skill. He lectured her, causing her to look down sadly. And you, Sasuke? He turned to him. You showed skill. But skill is nothing without a plan. You rushed headfirst when you saw Naruto's skill. Your pride threw strategy off the window. Sasuke merely huffed. And you, Naruto? His serious look turned into a hurtful. Why did you try to kill me? Naruto merely lit up a cigar. Don't be a baby. You said to come with the intent to kill. Besides, you didn't fight seriously since we only stuck to B-rank jutsu. Kakashi sighed. Anyways, even with your skill you didn't manage to take the bells. The ching sound was heard. They turned to look at Naruto, who held the bells in his hands, then at Kakashi's bells, which soon vanished. How? When I used the lightning Jinjutsu, I snatched the bells and set up a Jinjutsu that made them look like they were there. You didn't notice cause the flash blinded for a few seconds more than just your eyesight. Sasuke then widened his eyes. How do you have the Sharingan? He yelled at him. Kakashi turned to him. It was a gift from a friend. He muttered and turned to the memorial stone. That stone has the name of every ninja who gave up their lives to protect their village. He is there, he said sadly. Sasuke kept quiet. Anyway, what will you do with the bells, Naruto? He simply crushed them under his palm, causing the other two to gasp. He turned to them. The point of this test was teamwork. You, Sakura, refused my help. You, Sasuke, I didn't bother since I knew the answer. But with me breaking the bells, I just worked with you. So do we pass? Kakashi looked at him, then nodded with an eye smile. Yes. Thanks to Naruto you pass. From now on we're Team 7. He said with a thumbs up, causing Sasuke to smirk and Sakura to smile. Now, then. Said Naruto, taking out his chakra blades and coating them with lightning chakra. I need to teach you a lesson. He grinned to Kakashi, causing him to stumble back. Wait, Naru, air roar of thunder was heard, along with that's for being late. Sarutobi sat in his office, looking at the Jounins. Give your reports. Team 1. Failed. Team 2 failed. Team 3 passed. Team 4 passed barely. Team 5 failed. Team 6 passed but they will need work. Team 8 passed but they will need work. Team 10 passed. The door opened as a fried Kakashi walked in. Kakashi. What happened? Naruto pissed. Bad thing, he said, causing the room to sweat drop, then widened their eyes at his next words. Team 7 passed. You passed a team? Yes, they need a lot of work, but they pass. Sarutobi sighed. Alright. Dismissed everyone. As soon as they left, he looked outside this window. I wonder what surprises you have stored for me, Naruto, he said with a smile. Chapter 3. The wolf dives into the wave. Konoha. It was a beautiful day in Konoha, 1 month after the Genin test. But was it a normal day? Copycat in position. Team, acknowledge. Kakashi said. Bubblegum in position. Said Sakura, sighing at her codename. Avenger in position. Sasuke said seriously. Fang, you here? Fang, copy. Suddenly, a cat shriek was heard along with an explosion and a Dayu hellspin. Shit. Fang will kill the target. Code red. I repeat, code red. Kakashi yelled. The team rushed to the clearing to find Naruto holding by the neck a black cat with a ribbon on her ear, with a chakra blade pointing at her neck, coated with chakra. The cat was scared out of its mind. Now Naruto, we need the cat alive. Kakashi rubbed his head with an eye smile while his teammate sweat dropped. He turned to them, his blue eyes glowing. It will be fine. No one will notice. Please, he pleaded in a sick way, scaring the life out of them. Note to self. Don't piss him off. His teammates thought. Kakashi sighed and holded Naruto's shoulder. Come on. We must report to the Hokage. He said, only for Naruto to grumble and throw the cat in Sakura's arms, only for it to claw her, causing her to scream. Yep. It was a normal day in Konoha. Hokage Tower. Congratulations on capturing Tora the cat. The Hokage said with a sweat drop. Then, a fat lady came in and hugged the cat, causing it to scream in pain. "Oh my Tora-chan, how I missed you," she said, causing Naruto's eyebrow to twitch. As she left, the Hokage continued, "We have more missions for you. You can paint a villager's fence, clean the academy." Naruto's eyebrow kept twitching. "Help with the construction of a house." A yell of Tora-chan was heard to catch Tora. A wave of chakra surrounded Naruto, causing his team to take a few steps back. No. No more. Pathetic, D ranks. He cried. I wondered when he would blow. The Sandaime thought humorously. Iruka went to scold him. "Namikaze-san, you must understand that." But he had to duck from two chakra blades, one breaking his desk, one embedding itself on the wall, inches above his head, causing him to sweat. "Shut it, or you're next." He turned to the Hokage. "Give us a higher mission, old man." Sandaime simply took out a C rank, causing Naruto to calm down and take back his blades. "Team 7, this will be your first C rank mission," he said, causing Sasuke to smirk and Sakura to have a slight look of worry. "You are to escort a builder to Wave Country. Bring in the client," he said. Then, a gray-haired man with a beard and a straw hat came in, holding a bottle. He reeked of alcohol. "These are the brats supposed to protect me. They look pathetic. Especially the girl and the black-haired kid," he said with a scowl, causing both of them to try and hit him, only to be held by Kakashi. "I assure you we will be more than enough. I am an elite jounin after all, and my team are some of the strongest genins," he said, then turned to his team. "Team 7, go to your homes to prepare for a week-long trip. Meet at the East Gate in 1 hour. Dismissed," he said seriously, and they nodded, exiting the building. Naruto rushed out, but instead of going to his apartment, he went to meet Amon. As he rushed inside the building, he almost crashed on him. "Oh hi Naruto. I am afraid your house isn't finished." "Compil, I know it isn't. I came to ask if it would be done by the end of the week." He stopped him. Amon scratched his chin. "I believe it will be. I also have to say, thanks to your money, we managed to hire enough workers and get all the supplies in time to finish something that would take 3 months in only 1 month," he said proudly. Naruto nodded, glad to hear it. "I am going on a mission and won't return till the end of the week. Jana," he said and rushed out. As he was running, he suddenly came to a halt. Only to facepalm himself. "Why am I running? I know the Shunshin," he muttered, only to disappear in a swirl of leaves. He teleported in his apartment. It was a plain one, holding only the necessary furniture. As he entered his bedroom, he opened a small wardrobe. On its doors were rows of scrolls titled differently. Inside the wardrobe lay a set of protective gear, similar to the ones worn by Anbu. Also, it holded his Nadachi, the blade he usually used when he wanted to play with his enemies as an Anbu. It was made of chakra metal and held on a smoke-black sheath. He wore the protective gear, sheathed the Nadachi on his back, while he placed his chakra blades on his waist. He took a scroll titled C-rank gear, another titled healing, one titled rations and one titled survival items. He placed them all on a small table and sealed them inside a slightly bigger scroll. He placed that scroll on his back, making an X with an Nadachi. He looked himself on the mirror and nodded, exiting the apartment. He arrived at the East Gate, earning surprised looks from his teammates due to his armor and sword. A moment later, Kakashi arrived with the builder. "Everyone here? Good, let's move out," he said. It was time for Team 7's first mission to begin. Road to Wave. Team 7 was walking to Wave in a defensive formation. Tazuna, the client, was in the middle, with Sakura and Sasuke at his sides, Kakashi at the front and Naruto at the rear. Sakura turned to him. "Naruto, where are your supplies?" He merely took out his scroll, earning an eyebrow from Sakura. "His supplies are sealed in the scroll, Sakura," explained Kakashi, earning a look of surprise from Sakura. She then started a conversation with the bridge builder regarding Wave. At some moment, she turned to Wave. "Kakashi-sensei, doesn't Wave have shinobi?" "No, Sakura. Wave isn't rich enough to afford an academy, thus they ask for help from other villages like Konoha." She nodded and stopped talking. Suddenly, Naruto noticed a puddle in the front. "A puddle, but it hasn't rained in weeks." Kakashi knows it, I'm sure, but makes no move. "Ah, now I get it, he wants to see who they're after," he thought. They passed the puddle, Tazuna and his teammates unaware. Suddenly, the puddle shifted and 2 ninjas with a chain as a weapon appeared. They surrounded Kakashi with the chain and shredded him in pieces, causing Sakura to scream, but take a kunai out regardless. They turned to Tazuna. "Want to go?" they said in unison and rushed at him. However, Sasuke appeared in front of them and screamed, "Fire release. Grand fireball," aiming at the chain. A fireball went their way, causing them to split the chain and dodge it. However, Naruto appeared in front of one, slicing him with his chakra blades, blood gushing from his chest, falling to the ground. "Maizu." The other screamed and rushed at Naruto, only to get a kunai to the shoulder by Sasuke. Before he could get up, Kakashi appeared and placed his knee on his chest, a kunai to his neck, causing him to stop moving. Sakura screamed from her position, "Kakashi-sensei." How? She thought, then looked at her sensei's dead body only to see splintered wood. "Kawarimi." She inwardly exclaimed. "I wanted to see how you would do." He said, and I was not disappointed. "Sasuke, Naruto, great job at incapacitating your targets. You too, Sakura. You knew your weakness and decided to protect the client. I am proud of you." He smiled, then turned to the downed Nukenin, only to see him unconscious. "These are the demon brothers, Gozu and Maizu, Nukenins from Kiri. They were after you, Tazuna." "Why?" he said, looking at him, his eyes narrowed, causing him to sigh and tell the truth. Kakashi sighed. "This mission is above our level. We should head, but Naruto shaked his head. "I am going." Sasuke joined. "If he is going, I am going too." "So am I." Sakura screamed once Sasuke spoke. Kakashi sighed. "Alright, we will continue," he said, causing Tazuna to nod with tears. "Thank you," he said. Kakashi tied them to a tree to be picked by Anbu, and the team continued the journey. Wave. Team 7 were in a boat, heading for Tazuna's house. Despite the mist, Tazuna's bridge could be seen clearly. "Wow!" Sakura exclaimed while Naruto merely whistled. "Be quiet," the boat driver hissed. After a while, they got to ground. As they walked, Naruto suddenly threw a kunai at a bush, only for a frightened white rabbit to jump out. "Are you an idiot, Naruto? You almost killed the poor thing." Sakura screamed, but Naruto ignored her. "That rabbit's coat is white, it should be brown at this time of year, unless it was grown indoors." He widened his eyes, with Kakashi shouting, "Get down." Courtesy of a large sword passing overheads and embedding itself deep in a tree. A man shined above it. He was tall and muscular, with spiky black hair and brown eyes. He wore bandages covering his mouth. "What is this?" "A team of genin. And the legendary Kakashi the copycat. No wonder the demon brothers failed." He spoke. Kakashi stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. "Zabuza Mamachi. Demon of the Mist. A-rank ninja. You will fight me," he said, uncovering his Sharingan. "The Sharingan? I am deeply honored." He grinned, jumping down and lifting his sword. He did a hand-sealed Kurigakure no Jutsu. He exclaimed, covering the area with mist. "Team 7 Delta formation. Protect the client," he said, with Sasuke and Sakura taking the side with a kunai and Naruto the front, his chakra blades coated with wind chakra. 8 points. Liver, lungs, heart, jugular vein, larynx, subclavian artery, kidneys, brain. Which one to strike first? He said through the mist, releasing his killer intent. This P pressure is you unbearable." Sakura thought. Sasuke took a kunai. "I might as well end this. I can't stand it." However, Kakashi stopped him. "Don't worry, Sasuke, I won't let any of my students die," he said. "Is that so?" Zabuza shouted and swung from behind towards the bridge builder. However, he was stopped thanks to Naruto, who blocked them with his chakra blades. "I am impressed, kid," he said before he was stabbed in the back by Kakashi, only to transform into water Mizubunshin. He muttered, only to duck under a swing. Kakashi sent a kick towards him, only to block and respond with a punch. The Taijutsu match carried on for a few minutes until both jumped back and went through hand seals at insane speeds. They stopped on the same hand seal water release. "Water dragon bullet," they both shouted. 2 large dragons appeared and crashed on each other. "Amazing," Sakura thought. "So this is a jounin battle," Sasuke thought. After the jutsu, Kakashi kicked Zabuza into the lake only for him to disappear. As Kakashi rushed on top of the water, he noticed something. "This water is coated with chakra, oh no," he exclaimed, only to be trapped in a ball of water held by Zabuza. "Water prison success," he said. Kakashi cursed and turned to his team. "Run. You can't fight him," only to get a smirk from Naruto. "Oh come on, Kakashi. Weren't you the one who stressed in every team meeting those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash? Besides, I can handle him," he said, grinning. Sasuke also stepped forward. "I won't back down from this fight," he simply said. Zabuza smirked and made 10 Mizubunshin, only for 5 to be swiftly cut down by Naruto, who rushed at him. Sasuke handled the other 5. He ordered and sent his chakra blades at Zabuza with intense speeds. He caught one and dodged the other by leaning, only for Naruto to appear on him at breakneck speeds, his hand reared back. "Earth release. Fist rock," he said with a grin, punching Zabuza with his rock-coated punch in the chest, sending him flying, the jutsu broken. As Kakashi rose, he rushed at him. Zabuza got up painfully and started doing hand signs, Kakashi copying him. "Will you stop copying me? You are really annoying." Kakashi kept interrupting. "Can you see the future?" "Yes. And I see your death," he said, finishing the hand seal's first water release. "Great waterfall," he said, sending out a torrent of water that sent Zabuza crashing on a tree. Zabuza struggled to get up, however he fell to the ground when 2 senbon struck his neck. A hunter nin appeared, turning to them. You were right. He died. He said to Kakashi. She went to pick him up, only to dodge a hail of shuriken, courtesy of Naruto. She immediately grabbed him and disappeared. Why did you attack them, Naruto baka? He turned to her, a grin in his face. Shut up, or face oblivion. He said creepily, causing her to shut up, fear in her eyes. He picked Kakashi up and turned to Tazuna. Let us to the house. Sasuke Sakura take positions next to Tazuna. He ordered, his tone leaving no room for protest. With that, they carried on for Tazuna's house. After an hour, they finally arrived. It was small, connected to a lake. The door was opened by a beautiful woman with long blue hair wearing a pink shirt and blue skirt. Oh, thank the gods. Father, you alright? She said with worry, only for him to smirk. Ah, don't worry. I had these awesome ninja to protect me. At that point Naruto interfered. Excuse me miss, not to be rude or anything, but is there a place for us to put our sensei? He said, causing her to widen her eyes. Oh yes. Please come in. Thank you. He replied. As they entered the house, Kakashi was placed in the couch only to get a slap by Naruto, causing him to wake up. Ow. Don't be so harsh. Don't pretend to be asleep. He replied, his hands glowing green and placing them on Kakashi's chest. After a while he said his diagnosis: you don't have serious injuries, just chakra exhaustion. It will take you a week to recuperate, maybe less. Causing Kakashi to sigh. We got a week to prepare for Zabuza. Naruto said, causing Tazuna and his team to widen their eyes, but the hunter nin killed him. Only for Naruto to shake his head. He used senbon and aimed for the neck. She struck a nerve to make him fall unconscious and be placed in a death-like state. Also, a true hunter nin would have burned the body on the spot, not take it with him. Zabuza is very much alive. He said, causing the others to get scared. How long will it take for him to recuperate? Kakashi asked, only for Naruto to place a hand on his chin. Well, he didn't suffer from chakra exhaustion like you, he got more injuries, definitely cracked ribs from my punch, not to mention the death-like state puts a lot of strain to the body. 2 weeks, one with a good healer. He explained. Kakashi nodded and turned to his team. Until I am back on my feet, Naruto is the team leader. He said, causing Sakura to screech. Sasuke-kun should be the leader, he is the best. Only to get a glare by the rest of the room. Naruto, you must train them. Causing him to sigh in displeasure. He turned to Tsunami. Forgive our rudeness. I am Namek is Naruto, the Banshee is Haruno Sakura, the Emo is Sasuke, and our sensei is Hada Kakashi. Pleasure to meet you. He said with a bow, causing her to smile and do the same. I am Tsunami. Thank you for escorting my father. She said, do you have spare rooms, Tsunami-san? We have 2 spare rooms. She said. Alright, Kakashi and Sasuke will take 1 room. Sakura the other. Only to get a raised eyebrow by Sasuke. Where will you sleep? Only to get I want. In response, along with Naruto making 6 cage bunch and guard the house. He ordered, causing them to nod. Training will begin tomorrow at 10 AM. He said. At that moment Inari showed up. Inari. Say hi to these ninjas who protected your grandpa. Tsunami said, only for Inari to look at them. Why? They will die. He said without emotion, only to get annoyed glances. He stood up and left, causing Tsunami to sigh. I apologize for that. Only to get a shake of the head. Don't be. He is only a child. He said. After dinner and some light talk, Team 7 and Tazuna's family went to bed. Naruto stood on top of the roof, thinking about everything. Zabuza is alive, but this Gato guy will no doubt call reinforcements. High-level reinforcements. From what I know, he possesses a vast wealth and owns a number of companies, some related to ninjas. Heck, this guy, from what I learned from Anbu, is charged for everything, from slave and arms trading, to robbery and murder. I think it wouldn't hurt to borrow his wealth. As for Zabuza, I will try to recruit him. An A-rank ninja like him will be a good addition to my future army. He thought. He looked at the moon, his eyes reflecting it. His hand curled into a fist. Just you wait, Shinju, I will become worthy of your power. He thought with a smirk. Chapter 4. The Wolf Saves the Wave. Wave Country. Beto's mansion was a building signifying power. Surrounded by guards on all locations, it was his base of operations in Wave Country. It used to be the palace of the Wave Daimyo, but after the takeover of Wave, it became Gato's estate of drugs and prostitution. In a room, you could find the fake hunter nin, taking care of Zabuza, who kept cursing, damn that haddock. When I am up I will rip off his head. And that gaki, he will pay for that punch. He said bitterly and turned to the hunter, and you just had to hit me in the neck of all places. The neck is the best and swiftest place for the effect. It had to be done. The nin said, a hint of amusement in the voice. Then, Gato came in. Followed by 2 samurai wannabes. He looked at Zabuza with a scowl. Oh, look at the great demon. A team of genin took you down. Is this all I get for the money I paid you? He yelled. I underestimated them. They had Kakashi the copy ninja with them. I will get them next time. He said with a huff. Gato approached his bed. You better or you will act. He yelled in pain when the hunter nin grabbed his arm and twisted it. He fell back as his two guards placed their hands on their blades, only for him to reveal 3 senbon ready for use. Gato shaked his head at them and they standed down. You got 1 week. If you fail, I will hire someone more suitable. He growled and exited the room. You didn't have to do that, Haku. Zabuza said, revealing a kunai, only for her to shake her head. Don't overexert yourself. Just rest, Zabuza-sama. She said it had been 4 days since Naruto became team leader and both Sakura and Sasuke finally agreed on one thing. He was a slave driver. Every day he had them do physical exercises that made Sakura look like she was about to commit seppuku and Sasuke look like a tired, annoyed Sasuke. However, today seemed to be different. Alright. Today we shall learn to climb trees. Naruto said to them, getting weird looks. Naruto, we already know how. He merely walked forward to a tree. Do you know how to climb a tree? Then walked up the tree without hands. He said, his hands in his pocket, causing them to widen their eyes. The principle is simple. You must apply a fixed amount of chakra to the soles of your feet and use it to stick on the tree. Too much, you get thrown off. Too little, you fall. Use these, he said as he fell from the tree with a backflip while simultaneously throwing 2 kunai, 1 for each, at their feet to record your progress. He said, I suggest you get a running head start. Begin. He said, taking out a cigar. Naruto watched them practicing. In a short time, Sakura reached the top. Good, Sakura. Now keep doing the exercise until you run out of chakra. This exercise doesn't only help your control, your reserves get a boost as well. He explained, causing her to nod and continue. He then turned to Sasuke, who wasn't doing so well. Remember, Sasuke. Focus. He advised, causing him to scowl but calm down. He ran up the tree and run a considerable longer distance before he fell off, causing him to smirk but throw a thankful nod towards Naruto. Naruto nodded in response and continued monitoring them. Unknown to them, Kakashi observed them with an eye smile. Soon the sun was about to set when Sasuke mastered the exercise. Congratulations. He told them. Now, time to get back. He said. As they entered the house, they saw Tsunami cooking. Hello, Tsunami-san. The food smells delicious. She turned and smiled. Why, thank you. Gather everyone, food is almost ready. The team and Tazuna's family ate, with most of them wondering how Naruto and Kakashi could eat with their masks on. However, Inari finally had enough, it seemed. He slammed his hands on the table and glared at the ninja. Why are you still trying? You will lose. Gato has hundreds of thugs. He scowled, only to get a snort from Naruto. They are just that. Thugs. They stand no chance against a trained team of ninjas. He replied, causing Inari to scowl further. You are naive. You stand no chance. You sit and train and eat, well, you don't know what our country has been through. I bet you have a loving family and house back home and have never felt sadness. You know nothing of suffering. He yelled. The room's temperature dropped considerably. Naruto had his head down, his bangs obscuring his eyes. I know nothing of suffering. You dare say that to my face? He said, an enormous pressure falling to the room, golden chakra surrounding Naruto like a fountain, his eyes turning to a sickly gold. The rest of the room were terrified. Naruto pointed to Kakashi. His father suicided, caused the village hated him for saving his teammates. His closest friends died in the Third Shinobi War while he watched helplessly. He spoke, his voice getting slightly deeper. He then pointed to Sasuke. His older brother massacred his entire clan for the sake of power in one night. He then had him watch the entire massacre, all of it in under a second, for 72 hours. He then disappeared and appeared in front of Inari, grabbing him by the shirt and lifting him up, causing Kakashi to yell, "Stop, Naruto," while the rest of the room stood helplessly and watched. He looked at the boy right in the eyes, his golden eyes having slits. As for me. Tell me, boy, have you had thousands of beatings by your fellow villagers? Hundreds of assassinations attempts before the age of 6? Did you have to grow up for 3 years in the streets, looking for scrap and rubbish so you can survive? Did you have to kill at 4 years old? All because you were hated for something you never asked for? No, then don't tell me I don't know. Suffering? He growled the last part and dropped him to the floor. He turned to the door. I am going to blow some steam. He coldly said and left. The room was silent for a while, then Sakura painfully asked, "Is what he said true, Kakashi-sensei?" Only for him to nod sadly. That was the sugar-coated version. Causing the room to widen their eyes to the size of dinner plates. I watched Naruto when he grew up. I had seen what has happened to him. Worse things that you can imagine. He said lowly. Tsunami and Sakura were in tears, Inari stood still, too shocked to do anything. Tazuna was cursing, while looking sad, and Sasuke was thinking, he knows my pain. No, he knows more pain than I ever could. Someone like me. He then asked the question in everyone's minds, how? How is he still going? After all he has been through, how can he still smile, laugh, joke and live like that? Sasuke yelled. Kakashi answered again, Naruto has a strong will, the strongest I have ever seen. It isn't surprising that the Hokage says Naruto's will of fire is a luminous sun. However, I fear the day all the pent-up emotions surface. What he will do that day. For the most dangerous sun is the one who has died and becomes a solar explosion which brings total devastation to anything in the vicinity. He cryptically spoke and went upstairs. The residents had a lot to think about. Wave Forest. Naruto stood in the middle of a forest, hacking, slashing, punching, kicking, destroying anything he found. He growled, damn brat. He said, cutting a tree in half with his Nadachi. He kept going, golden aura surrounding his body. Suddenly, he put wind chakra to his blade and threw it to a dozen trees, cutting them all. Wind release. Vacuum wave. He yelled, spinning around, as razor-sharp winds were released in all directions, cutting many trees in half. The moment he stopped he immediately did more hand seals water release. Great waterfall. An enormous torrent of water spew out of his mouth and destroyed everything in its path for a large distance. He then encompassed his arm in electricity, the lightning turning golden slightly, due to the gold chakra. A screeching was heard as he pointed to a tree Chidori. Sharp spear. He growled and sent a beam of lightning to the other direction, making some trees catch fire. He did more hand seals earth release. Tearing earth turning palm. He punched the ground, rocks flying around, causing a fissure. He kept going all night. A young girl, wearing a pink kimono, walked with a basket, only to widen her eyes towards the forest did a tornado pass through. However, she shook her head as she sensed chakra residue. Powerful chakra at that. She kept walking until she saw a boy, the boy who shot her those shuriken. She outstretched an arm, going to strangle him, but instead she woke him up. Naruto opened his eyes and looked at her, are you a ninja? He simply nodded. Yay. I was training and fell asleep. She looked around some training and turned to him, what are you doing here? I came to pick herbs. No doubt for Zabuza. He said, catching her punch, a smirk on his face, relax. I won't attack you. He said, dropping her punch to the side, I want you to heal him. I have a proposal for you too. The now revealed Hunter Nin rose her eyebrow, what proposal? He rose, I know your skills. I also know as well as you do that Gato will betray you. So, I ask that you may join me. She narrowed her eyes, I am sorry, but if we wanted to join Konoha, I didn't say Konoha. I said me, more importantly, join me and be under my clan protection. He interrupted, causing her to tilt her head to the side, you have a clan. He nodded, I am the last of one. However, I come from two powerful Konoha clans, so my name carries a lot of power. I will make sure you and Zabuza get to be happy. All I ask is your loyalty. He exclaimed, causing her to think about it. Don't think now. Contact Zabuza. Then, once you meet me at the bridge, give me your answer. He stopped, not knowing her name. She nodded and turned her back on him, however she stopped and said, I am Haku. And I am a boy. He simply turned the other way and I didn't destroy the forest. He said with a smirk and disappeared before she could say another word. Zabuza-sama. She thought. Naruto came back at the house but didn't spoke to anyone. He simply sat on top of a rock and was either smoking, sharpening his sword, or not being there. 2 more days passed. Naruto had been off to a morning scouting, however, once he came back, he heard screaming. As he walked around the house, he noticed 2 of Gato's thugs. Narrowing his eyes, he disappeared, only to appear behind them and slash both of their necks with his chakra blades. He turned to see Tsunami, with Inari in front, both of them with fear in their eyes. Naruto made 5 bunch and watched them. He then turned to Inari, you were brave. Keep being so. He merely said and disappeared, with Inari having stars in his eyes. Bridge. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura were in a hard struggle. They went to the bridge to guard Tazuna only for Zabuza and his fake Hunter Nin to appear. Kakashi fought Zabuza inside the mist, Sasuke battled the Hunter Nin in a dome of ice mirrors, and Sakura was guarding Tazuna. That was the situation until Naruto arrived. Knowing Kakashi could hold his own, Naruto decided to handle Haku first. He swiftly jumped over the dome to see Sasuke impaled by many senbon and about to take dozens more. He yelled wind release. Great breakthrough. And spat out a gust of wind, knocking the senbon away. A smirk formed on Sasuke's face as he was about to collapse, but Naruto caught him. Carefully, he placed him down, good job Sasuke. Now rest. He said only to get a nod in silence. He turned to Haku, well, now to deal with you. He said. His response was her entering the mirrors and throwing senbon in different directions only for him to dodge them. He's fast. She thought as she continued, give up. You can't keep track of me, and my mirrors are. She was cut off as he appeared above her and sent an axe kick at one of the mirrors, shattering it in half. Impossible. She yelled only to meet a fist. As she narrowly dodged, another mirror was destroyed. This kept on until Naruto had enough. He went through hand seals while smirking lightning release. Wave of inspiration and pressed his hand on a mirror. Powerful lightning coursed through it, shattering it, only for the electrical pieces to touch other mirrors, giving off the same effect. This caused a chain reaction, breaking all the mirrors, with Haku narrowly dodging the shock. However, Naruto appeared above her, his fist curled back, lightning surrounding him. With a shout of lightning release. Lightning rod. He punched her mask, cracking it, along with sending a bolt of electricity in her body. She fell to the ground, her mask now torn off by Naruto. Be a good girl and stay here. He said, then turned to the direction he felt powerful chakra from. He muttered as he rushed off. In a few seconds, he saw Zabuza kept in place by Kakashi's tracker dogs as he made the famous Rikiri and sped off to finish him, with Haku teleporting to stop it. However, he came in front and caught his wrist, sending a pulse of chakra, cancelling the jutsu to Kakashi's shock. He pushed him away. What are you doing, Naruto? He yelled. Naruto snorted and turned to Zabuza. The hell you doing, Zabuza? Didn't you think the deal? He said, causing Zabuza to snort as the tracker dogs dispelled and Zabuza fell, only for Haku to hold him. Zabuza-sama. She yelled. He painfully turned to her. I'm sorry, Haku. He said for the first time, causing her to widen her eyes. Zabuza-sama. She said. Then clapping was heard from the opposite end of the bridge. They turned only to see Gato, with an army of thugs and a Nukenin next to him. He had green hair and blue eyes, while wearing an Omegakure headband. His clothing consisted of a pink sleeveless shirt with a black line running along the zipper, black armbands and black hanbu pants. He held an umbrella and had a smirk on his face. This is all the famous demon of the mist can do. I wanted you to weaken them enough so I can kill all of you, but it seems you're unable to do even that. He sneered. Gato Zabuza growled, but closed his eyes in pain, blood flowing from his legs where the dogs bit him. Aoi. Please be a good friend and finish them off. With pleasure, Aoi said and released his umbrella senbon shower. He yelled as the umbrella released hundreds of senbon to their vicinity. They would have been pincushions if not for Naruto. He unsealed 3 windmill shuriken and threw them around them, locking them in a triangle and with a yell of lightning release. Thunder binding. A triangle-shaped lightning barrier formed around them, blocking the shuriken. Rakusho Aoi Konoha Nukenin, Kakashi said from inside the barrier. He then did hand seals, ignoring Kakashi's shout of wait. Lightning release. Lightning jaguar. The lighting barrier transformed into a jaguar made of electricity. It roared as it sped to Ao. However, before it could reach him, Aoi took out a sword handle and with a tearing sound, a blade of lightning was formed which cut down the jaguar with his. Naruto narrowed his eyes. The sword of the thunder god, he muttered, though something else was on his mind. How does he have the sealed form of a holy weapon? Questions raced in his mind, but he shrugged them off. He needed that blade. He took out his Nadachi, made of chakra metal. He covered it in electricity and swiftly charged forward with Aoi doing the same. They met in the center, their swords clashing as sparks flew. Naruto growled as his blade gained slight cracks, despite the lightning fortifying it. He pushed back Aoi and swinged at him. Lightning wave. He yelled as a wave of lightning chakra went Aoi's way, only for him to swing his sword and destroy it. He then dashed at him and continued the sword clashing, his sword to the point of breaking after Aoi blocked one of Naruto's more powerful swings. Naruto, however, used the blocking to appear in front of Aoi, a Chidori in his hand. He stabbed the lightning blade at its base, cracking it slightly, to Aoi's unawareness, while jumping back, curling his hand into a fist. His hand was surrounded by blue chakra, with him charging forward and punching the sword where the Chidori hit. The lightning blade disappeared for a second, to Aoi's horror, which was all Naruto needed. In that split second, he stabbed his chest, then raised with a swift motion the blade upwards, cracking the sword inside Aoi's dying body. He tossed the handle aside with a sad sigh as he grabbed the thunder god blade from Aoi's hand. He placed it on his waist as he turned to notice Gato's scowl. Gato turned to his thugs. Kill him. But keep the girls alive. They will prove fine entertainment along with the women we will take after we sack the village. He yelled, the thugs roaring and charging. Zabuza took his blade as him and Kakashi joined Naruto's side. Kid, if we survive this, I will join you. He muttered. Naruto simply smirked and threw Kakashi his chakra blades. Don't lose them. He said as he crouched low. Now. He yelled, the 3 of them running to intercept the thugs. All hell broke loose. Zabuza used his executioner blade to cut thugs left and right. Kakashi surrounded his chakra blades with lightning as he moved from one opponent to the other. Naruto was a blur of death. He was breaking necks, hands and legs left and right and targeted weak points of the body. At one point, he had twisted a man's arm, took his sword, cut off his head, then threw it at another man. Before the man could respond, a sword cut through the head, along with the man's chest. Gato was seen rushing to the back. Naruto showed him, then with a cry of lightning release electromagnetic murder. The last line of defense was broken. Naruto grabbed Gato from the throat and lifted him up. Please. Spare me. He begged. Naruto smirked. I won't kill you. He said, causing Gato to sigh. They will. He added and showed him the band of villagers, led by Inari. He threw Gato at their feet and the beating begun. He then turned to his team to see Sakura crying over Sasuke's injured form. With a sigh, he sat down, having lost quite a bit of chakra from the continuous jutsu dam. I should have taken off the seals. He thought. Wave Village. 3 days had passed since the victory at the bridge. After the battle, Naruto had visited Gato's mansion and sacked it. He grabbed anything of value. Land papers, blackmail, business administration, title holdings and numerous money accounts. He also got access to his vault and took numerous artifacts, along with 30 billion ryo. He kept 10 for himself, 5 for Zabuza, and gave the rest to the people of Wave, along with forming business alliances with them. Even of only 3 days had passed, the changes were clear to all. The people were filled with happiness and were optimistic for the days to come. Alas, it was time for the sad goodbye. Do you really have to go, Nai-chan? Inari said with tears in his eyes. Naruto smiled at him. Now Inari. No tears. I want you to be a good boy and protect your family, alright? He said, ruffling his hair, causing him to nod happily. Yes. And I will practice to be as strong as you. He said. Gone was the sad boy, now stood a happy one, ready to protect his family. Good. He rose. He turned to Zabuza. So, you said you will come in a month? He said, with Zabuza nodding yes. I want to help the wave get back on its feet for a bit while recovering from my injuries. He said, causing him to nod and shake his hand. I will expect you in a month then. Don't be late or I will open the wounds again. He said with a grin, to get one from Zabuza and your dreams Gaki. He said. Naruto simply laughed and joined his team. Alright Team 7. Time to return. Kakashi said with an eye smile. As they were leaving and waving goodbyes, Tazuna suddenly slapped his forehead. I forgot to name the bridge. He groaned, but then grinned. I say we name it the Great Tazuna Bridge. Only to get laughs from everyone. We should name it the Great Naruto Bridge. Inari yelled, with the crowd roaring in agreement. Zabuza simply looked at the boys back. Great Naruto Bridge, huh? You will go far, Kitty thought, a small smile rising behind the bandages. Chapter 5. I am your Hokage Tower. Sarutobi Hiruzen has lived many years, finished many missions and gave out even more. He has seen many weird things happening, but never in his entire life has he seen a C-rank mission turn to A rank. He looked at Team 7 after Kakashi finished his report with a small twitch. He coughed in his hand. Well, despite the circumstances, I congratulate you for finishing an A rank mission. Your pay will be added to your accounts. You have 2 days free of missions. Dismissed, except you Naruto. He said. The others looked at Naruto weirdly, except Kakashi who was busy reading his book but nonetheless left. Naruto simply sat in a chair. What do you want, Hokage Jiji? He said with a smirk at the Hokage's glare as he took out a cigar. The Hokage sighed. I just wanted to know what you're going to do with the Raijin and that Aoi's bounty will go to your account. He said. Naruto closed his eyes. Thank you for the cash, I will use it until I find a better replacement. But there is more to this, I know there is. He said. Hiruzen nodded. I also wanted to talk to you about your position as the last of a clan. He said, causing Naruto to snort. What is there to talk about? If this is about the Kra, then it is fine. Marriage proposals have come by the dozens. Hiruzen said, causing Naruto to cough out his cigar, then look at him in surprise. Already? I thought they wouldn't start until after the Chunin exams. He said. The council sent the letters regarding the activation of the law. Even the clans in Konoha have prepared potential brides. Damn those lecherous civilians. And you let it occur? He said, his eyes gaining a small gold tint. You know I had no choice. And I am not the one who gets famous in the bingo book. He said, tossing him the latest version, page 910. He said. Naruto raised an eyebrow, then looked at the page with a raised eyebrow. The hell? Since when am I in the bingo book as an A-rank ninja? He wondered. Since you beat this Mamachi Zabuza. He got as a response. Naruto sighed, calming down as he placed the bingo book in his pouch. Who are the potential brides from Konoha? He said, his eyes gaining a slight gleam. Hiruzen coughed his hand. Hiashi desires you to marry him. No. Too weak. He said, causing Hiruzen to raise an eyebrow. Naruto-kun, the Hyuga are one of the most powerful clans, and I have the power to destroy an army. Next. He said, leaving no room for argument on the matter. Well, next the Inyazuka clan suggests Inyazuka Hana. They say she will be a good alpha female. He said, Naruto thinking she is strong and good looking, but alpha female. Ha. He said. Next is Ino Yamanaka. Oh, I remember her. He said, good looking, with potential. Add her and Hana to considering. He said with a smirk. What else? He said. They also sent letters to clans and nations throughout the world. He said, we expect response to come during the end of the Chunin exams. He said, causing Naruto to nod. Speaking of the exams, when you participate and become a Chunin, you will be allowed to sit in council meetings. he replied. Naruto nodded. Thought so. He said. By the way, what will you do with Zabuza? He asked. I will put him under the protection of my clan. He merely said as he took another cigar. I see. Finally, I want you to know these Chunin exams will be visited by every nation for obvious reasons. Naruto looked at him. And Nadeto, you have free time? He said, changing the conversation and causing him to nod with a smile. Thanks to your generosity favors. Yes, I got more time now. He said. Naruto nods, rising. Come grab my shoulder. It will only take a minute. He said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow, but nodded nonetheless. He touched Naruto's shoulder and they were gone in a shunshun of lightning. Clan estates. Hiruzen looked with eyes ready to pop at what Naruto teleported them outside of. He stood outside a large iron gate made of intricate designs. It was placed on a tall and thick wall, made of what appeared to be chakra granite that looked impossible to lift. On top of the gate stood a sigil he didn't know. It had the head of a wolf with 10 tails behind him, each tail holding a symbol. 5 for each element, 1 for Buckeye, 1 for Makai, 1 for Ninjenkai, 1 for creation and 1 for destruction. Besides the large acre of land it surrounded, almost twice the size of the Hyuga compound, nothing was normal. Besides, of course, the enormous estate that stood on the center. It was enormous, standing 100 feet up in the sky, almost the size of the Hokage Tower. Made of chakra wood and stone, it was designed more as a castle than an estate. What is this? When was this made? Why wasn't I informed? He asked in his shock. Naruto grinned as he took out his drink. I ordered its construction after our meeting when you made me genin. And I am certain you got a form regarding a new clan estate. He said. Hiruzen squinted his eyes, then widened them as he indeed signed such a paper, but didn't read it in his haste to read Icha. He sighed. To have made something so big with these materials in so little time must have cost a fortune. He replied. Billions of ryo to be exact. A voice interrupted. They turned to see it was Amon Namikaze and asked for the house to be made to withstand any assault. It costed a fortune of billions, but we managed to make one of the most defensible buildings in the world. Naruto nodded. Thanks to Gato though, I am steadily getting back those ryo. Can you give a rundown of the fort so Hokage-sama can hear it? Amon nodded and turned to the fort. The walls surrounding the estate as well as the ones of the house are made of chakra granite. The gate is made of high-quality chakra steel. Inside is a large area capable of housing a large town. The fort is 100 feet tall. It is made of chakra oak wood. It has 40 guest rooms, 11 family rooms, 29 bathrooms, a kitchen, a living room, a dining hall, a meeting room, an armory, a library, 3 training rooms and a control room. There is also a large underground hall split into 10 sectors, each as big as 5 rooms, left for Namikaze and to model. Finally, below that lies a bunker made entirely of chakra cement, surrounded by a thick layer of chakra titanium. All in all, it is a fortress in Konoha. He said. Naruto turned to see the Hokage having a blank face. He swinged his arm to his face, getting no reaction. He sighed, calling the Anbu to take the broken Hokage. He then turned to Amon and tossed him an envelope. Inside lies a check for 1 million ryo. Distribute them to those who worked for this. He said, getting a nod and a smile from Amon. As he left, Naruto turned to the fort, cracking his knuckles. He made 100 kage bunshin and said time for work. Castle Takezo must be full of seals by nightfall. He said, with the clones nodding and rushing to work. Castle Takezo. The sun's rays shone inside Naruto's new room. He slowly opened his eyes, rising slowly as he stretched his arms. He yawned before looking outside, seeing the sunrise, then at his room. It was a room fit for a lord. The walls were made of polished dark oak wood, giving the room a feel of a cabin. He laid on a king-sized bed, made of white iron, the sheets a pure white color. On the right stood a large wardrobe made of the same wood as the walls, while on the left laid a wooden office. As he rose, he changed into his clothes, then laid eyes to the opposite of the room. There laid an armor stand, without any armor, along with hooks on the wall for various weaponry. His eyes especially laid on the 2 empty sword holsters. With a sigh, he placed the Raijin on one of the holsters, as he thought he should find a demon or an angel blade soon. He knew very well that the chances of finding another god blade were 1 in a million, not to mention his body can't handle more than 1 god blade until he reached demigod status. Right now, he needed 2 more years for that. He then turned to the armor stand and went towards the table. He grabbed a pen and ink and wrote a letter. He nodded, then created a kage bunshin. Get this to Gato's council. Tell them the boss demands one to be made. The clone nodded and disappeared. He sighed and went to the kitchen. He ate breakfast as he thought of the seals. Let's see. I added seals to the walls, the gate and every inch of the castle. The barrier seals are placed in the control room, along with a link to all the seals in the house. I placed their special high-level seals, along with enough chakra to make me fall asleep in 5 minutes. It should be enough to hold for a century or so, since the new seals reduce the chakra needed for it to work. All I need now is to get those defense machines I ordered while the clones worked. He thought. He finished his breakfast and washed the dishes, then went to the armory. The armory was a large room and its purpose was like the name suggested. It stored Naruto's weapons. 3 walls had hooks on them for weapons, while the other wall was filled with drawers. Inside the drawers laid scrolls filled with different weapons, provisions, rations, medical kits, poisons and anything combat related. The right wall was filled with different types of swords, from Kodichis and Wakizashi to Nadachi and Okatanas. It even had some strange swords like a claymore or rapier. The left wall featured heavy weapons like battle axes, spears, bow staffs, warhammers and even some morning stars. Finally, the wall behind him was filled with different types of ranged weaponry, from demon and windmill shurikens to longbows and crossbows. On the center of the room, laid armor stands with armors appearing similar to those Anbu wore. He grabbed the weapons he needed, then went outside, while drinking his carbon drink. As he went outside, he made around 100 kage bunshin and said 35 of you work on the new seals. Another 35 will work on creating clan houses on designated areas. The rest go grab the defensive machines and install them. He said, getting salutes. With a sigh he went out to Konoha. Konoha Gate. Naruto waited at the gate for around an hour before he saw Zabuza and Haku walking towards Konoha. He approached Izumo and Katetsu, the gate guards, and showed them the papers. With a nod, they led those two in, albeit with narrowed eyes. He turned to Zabuza and Haku and smirked welcome to Konoha. Zabuza snorted, I have been here before Gaki, ere Naruto-sama. He said, scratching his head at the end. Haku however, looked around in wonder. Naruto smiled and made a kage bunshin. This clone will show you around, then he will help you go to the house. There, after you sort your things out, you may do as you wish. I have businesses to attend to. He said, causing them to nod as they went with the clone. Naruto turned and went to the village. He hummed as he looked around for anything to do. Shrugging, he went towards Ichiraku to get some ramen. As he entered and sat on a stand, Ayame saw him, then turned to him with a smile. Good morning Naruto-kun. She said. Naruto nodded with a smile. Good morning Ayame-chan. I would like 5 bowls of beef ramen. He said, causing her to nod, coming right up. She then turned towards the back. 2-san. 5 beef for Naruto. She said, getting a coming. In response. She turned to him. How are you doing Naruto-kun? I heard you went on a mission. He nodded. Yay. Nothing special though. He said as the first bowl was in front of him. She nodded, chatting with him as he ate, but eventually leaving him to attend to other customers. Naruto sighed blissfully, but before he could finish the final bowl, an Anbu appeared. Namikaze-san, the Hokage has summoned you. He says it's urgent. The cat-masked Anbu said. Naruto nodded. I will be there in a moment. He said as he ate quickly his last bowl as she nodded and disappeared. With a sigh, he paid and disappeared as well. Hokage Tower. Naruto stood outside the Hokage's office, thinking what Hiruzen wanted. He could expect a few things, talk of his money, the castle or the Chunin exams. But the scene he walked in, that he never expected. In the room stood the Hokage in his chair, his hands folded together and in front of him, on top of his chin. That wasn't the strange thing. The 2 people standing next to him were. The first was a woman that stood at 5'8" with long red hair and round violet eyes. She had a curvy figure that would make any man drool, with a bubblegum as in E-cup breasts. She wore black shinobi pants, red sandals and a red shirt with black mesh armor below. She also had an injado on her back. The other person was a man at 6'1" with golden blonde hair and lightning blue eyes. He wore blue jounin pants, a blue muscle shirt, blue sandals and a white trench coat with red flames licking the bottom. Naruto blinked, his eyes widening. Then Naruto-kun, these are Hiruzen started but was interrupted. Hello Naruto. Said the man with a smile. My name is Namikaze Minato. I am your father. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi never expected this. Not on his wildest dreams. Minato, Kushina, alive. How could this be? He came in his office after going to the Jounin lounge to inform them about the Chunin exams and give out roles, only to find those 2 there, with smiles on their faces, like nothing happened. But he knew the worst had yet to come. No, he knew it would be when Naruto found out. Which is exactly what happened since they were adamant on seeing their Sachi, but he knew better. Naruto didn't like his parents a lot, but he respected the fact they sacrificed themselves for the village. Even if it meant sacrificing their son. But when he found out what truly happened to them, he wouldn't be angry, like himself was. No, he feared Naruto would break. And even if he could stop him, he wouldn't. He decided to sit and talk only when addressed. God have mercy on us all, he thought, as he looked towards Naruto. Naruto's bangs shadowed his face. He was looking at the ground, trembling, his hands curled into fists, veins forming. How are you alive? He spoke in a whisper. Minato talked, a smile in his face, thinking Naruto was like this from joy. Well, when I used the Shiki Fujin, I used a loophole. Instead of sealing the entire Kyuubi into you, I only sealed the soul. The chakra I sealed it into your sister. He explained. Naruto simply said my sister. I have a sister. Only for Kushina to nod with a smile. Not one. Two beautiful sisters. The eldest one is Naruko, holding the chakra. After a year, I gave birth to another child, Narumi. Both can't wait to meet you. She said happily. Naruto turned back to Minato and where were you all this time? Why you left me here? He said, the hair coming out like a hiss, which went totally unnoticed by the eye-smiling parents. We thought it was best to leave you here because Naruko needed to control the chakra. We didn't know what would happen if you were near her without her having full control. They said. That did it. Sarutobi thought with a gulp. A sudden pressure fell on the room, cold and dark. Both parents' eyes widened their eyes, with Kushina and Sarutobi finding it a bit hard to breathe. The pressure was felt in the entire village. Anbu and many Jounin were familiar with the pressure. This was the pressure of the Akami no Shai, Konoha's alpha man slayer. And from the dense feeling, he was pissed. Every ninja close to the tower instantly fell back. They knew the Hokage wasn't gonna be attacked by the Akami, and they also knew they shouldn't get near him, or their deaths would be immediate. Genins and civilians cried under the immense pressure. If it was any more potent, it would feel like the Kyuubi attacked yet again. Inside the room, Naruto was surrounded by gold chakra, his nails had become similar to claws, his clenched teeth to fangs, and his now open eyes were a sickly gold, with a black slit, like a wolf's. Dark blue lightning crackled around him as wind picked up below his feet. The tower shook from the immense pressure. Naruto couldn't stop. You will tear down the tower. He yelled. The power soon decreased, the golden aura disappeared, and his features went back to normal. But the lightning stayed, signifying that he was too pissed to completely control himself. Will that be all, Hokage-sama? He stressed the word, leaving no room for argument. Hiruzen nodded, with sadness in his eyes. Naruto went to the door but stopped. If you two come near me like this again, prepare for the consequences. He left the threat hanging. As he left the tower, the Hokage's guards which stood outside quickly letting him pass, not wanting to die today. Hiruzen sighed, turning to the shocked parents. He rose, anger in his eyes. Are you completely mad? He roared at them. They turned to him, too shocked to speak. You come to the village, after 12 years, you tell him you're alive, that he has 2 sisters, and that you let him in this hellhole for what? A stupid and untrue reason. Are you both bakas? He yelled, releasing his own pressure, sweat dripping in their brows. What do you mean a stupid and untrue reason? Minato asked. Hiruzen calmed down, looking at them with surprise. You really don't know? He asked, causing them to shake their heads. He narrowed his eyes. You mean you really thought you sealed the Kyuubi's soul inside him? Fools. You sealed 5 tails of its chakra inside him. He yelled loudly, causing them to widen and Minato to yell, it can't be. When I summoned the Shinigami Eye, he then stopped widening his eyes more. Kushina turned to him. Minato-kun? She asked. When I summoned the Shinigami, I only told him to begin with Naruto. I never told him to seal the soul inside him. All it sealed was a large red substance in the form of the fox. I thought it was the Kyuubi soul, but now it must have been condensed Yaki. He said lowly, causing her to widen her eyes. Then Naruko has the Kyuubi soul. But she has more than 4 tails. How? Are you an idiot? Naruko is in Uzumaki. She was born with more than enough chakra for the Kyuubi to absorb to quickly recover, not to mention he would recover in time anyways. Hiruzen yelled. Kushina turned to him. But still, what do you mean left him in the hellhole? We asked and ahenged the villagers, and they all say Naruto-sama is the best genin. Hiruzen growled. That was only after they learned he was your and Minato's son. His eyes then filled with sadness. Naruto didn't live until he became 8 years old. Before that, he suffered. He starved, got poisoned, stabbed, suffered broken bones, got beat by villagers, suffered assassination attempts during the first week of him being a Jinchuriki, if you can call him that, was kicked out of 15 orphanages, and even what Sarutobi? Said Minato in a shaky voice. Hiruzen looked down 3 times. Naruto has been raped. He said. Kushina placed a hand over her mouth, tears flowing down like a river, making sobbing voices, while Minato clenched his fist, tears forming in his eyes too. Hiruzen rose. I saved him from that, but at a cost. Stay and think of what you caused, he said bitterly, leaving the broken parents on their own. Hassle to Kezo. Zabuza had faced many things in his life. He faced armies of shinobi, hunter nins, elite ninjas and even the Yondaime Mizukage, the strongest Mizukage since the time of the Nidaime. Kakashi had faced many things as well. The great Kyuubi no Kitsune being one of them. But both A-rank ninjas decided together that one thing they wouldn't never want to face is Naruto pissed. Zabuza and Haku met Team 7 and Kakashi and decided to go to Naruto's new house together. Of course all of them were shocked at the castle. While looking around, they felt, heck the entire village did, an enormous pressure. Then, all the clones went haywire and started activating the barriers and seals and sorting out the things. Then they dispelled, with one warning them that they shouldn't go outside for a few hours. They didn't know what he meant, but now they did. Inside the house, you could see Team 7 and the Mist group hiding in the curtains of a window as they saw on the open field below a very pissed Naruto throwing air rank techniques left and right. The field was a mess, cracks, holes, small fissures and combusted grass everywhere. Naruto was currently surrounded by his chakra as he punched while in mid-air in rapid succession, at speeds too fast for a jounin, releasing with each punch golden chakra blasts, each packing the punch of a B-rank technique. His roaring pierced the heavens, his energy forcing the field apart. Die. Die. He kept yelling, concentrating fire on a specific spot, soon forming a hole fit for a lake. He eventually stopped as the Hokage rushed at him. Naruto. Stop. He said, only to have to dodge a blade of wind that tore the ground. He looked at Naruto and sighed. He took off his robes, revealing his battle armor as he summoned Enma, the Monkey King. Enma, I need your help. Turn into the bow staff. He said, with Enma looking towards Naruto, taking into account that Naruto's use of energy made his chakra fall rapidly and nodded, transforming into an adamantine stuff. Naruto made a K's no Yaiba as he rushed at cage-level speeds and swinged down at him, with Hiruzen raising his staff. A clang was heard as the ground below Hiruzen caved in from the force. Hiruzen quickly shunshined away and formed hand signs Earth Release. Earth Flow River. He said, a river of mud forming behind Naruto, stopping his rush. Earth Release. Earth Dragon Bullet. A mud dragon's head formed that shot mud bullets. Fire Release. Fire Dragon Bullet. He shot a wave of fire from his mouth, the mud bullets catching on fire. Naruto roared Water Release. Great Waterfall. He spat out a torrent of water. The jutsus collided in an explosion. From the smoke came Naruto, Turakiri in his hands as he slammed them forward. Sarutobi using Enma to defend, but the power behind the jutsu made cracks in the staff, causing Sarutobi to widen his eyes as it was as hard as diamonds. He sent a sweep kick only for Sarutobi to jump but get hit in the stomach by a following high kick. He was sent flying but used chakra to skid the ground into a halt. He saw Naruto coming at him and went into Hand Seal's Fire Release. Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. He yelled, releasing a stream of flames. Naruto did Hand Seals and spawned a wall of stone. The fire hit the rock, causing it to become hot. Hiruzen pushed more chakra, the flames turning white until an explosion occurred, with Naruto flying back. He flipped in mid-air and pushed his hand into the ground, skidding into a halt, then punched towards Hiruzen, a chakra blast going his way. Hiruzen slammed Enma on it, only to get flying back from the force as it dispelled. At that moment, Enma went back to the summoning realm. Both Naruto and Hiruzen stood into a chance and rushed at each other, going through a battle of jutsu infused to jutsu battle, Naruto using water and lightning release and Sarutobi using fire and earth release. The battle continued for 5 more minutes until both Hiruzen and Naruto were too tired to even move. Naruto calmed down, his eyes turning back to blue. Thanks. I needed that. He said and tossed him a chakra pill. Hiruzen caught it with a nod. Don't be. I understand. Besides, it was good to stretch. He said. Naruto turned to the house, explained what happened to them. I need some air himself. He said. Naruto. Before you go. Kakashi came to tell you he applied you both to the Chunin exams. They start in 2 days. He said, with Naruto simply nodding. With a leaf shunshin, he was gone. Konoha. It was a new day in Konoha, not to mention the last day before the Chunin exams. Teams from all over the world came to compete for the right to become Chunin. However, the major gossip was something else entirely. News of the Yondame's return spread like wildfire, the population having mixed reactions. Some were very happy, thinking Konoha grew in power once again, some were displeased because he left his son, while others simply didn't know what to think. Team 7 had also mixed reaction. Kakashi was happy his sensei was alive, though he felt sadness for Naruto. Sakura was neutral, while Sasuke hated it. He thought it was like saying Itachi returned and was pardoned for his crimes. Similar thought coursed through each member of the Genin teams. We could find Naruto walking around, his eyes narrowed as the villagers looked at him, some with pity, some with adoration. Naruto ignored them as he kept his mind off everything. He kept walking until he stopped. Behind him stood a square rock with holes. He turned and simply did a sealess earth jutsu, causing the ground to move as a yelp was formed. The rock blew up in a puff of smoke as the coughing of 3 kids was heard. We used too many smoke bombs, one said coughing. The one in the middle looked up and yelled Naruto Niacin. He sighed. Konohamaru, square rocks don't exist or follow you around. He muttered. Konohamaru was the grandson of the Sandame. He met him once in the Hokage's office, and after the boy realizing he didn't care for his status, the training tips he gave helped too. He became like an icon for the boy, someone to look up in his dream to become Hokage. Naruto didn't care about that, but helped Konohamaru and his friends whenever he could. Speaking of friends, he gave a nod to them, causing them to nod back with smiles. Yuden and Mogi, with Konohamaru and enough training, could make a very decent team. He thought. Naruto Nyasan, I heard what happened. You alright? All he got was a forceful nod in response. Before anything else could be said, a cry of Naruto was heard. He turned to see Sakura rushing to him. I heard what happened. I am. He simply said, leaving no room for argument. Konohamaru looked at her, then at Naruto. Boss, is she your? He raised his pinky, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow. Do you take my preferences to match her? Konohamaru yucked. You're right. She can't be. I mean, look at her, she's flat. He said, causing Sakura's eye to twitch, not to mention her huge forehead. He said, then he heard chuckling run. Naruto said, slightly amused, as Sakura roared and chased Konohamaru, his friends Yuden and Mogi following him. Naruto was gonna leave until he heard a crash with a yell of "You brat." He turned, walking where they went, only to see Konohamaru held by his scar from a ninja wearing a black suit, making him look like a cat, with an item wrapped in bandages on his back. Behind him stood a Kunoichi wearing a white dress with a battle fan behind her back. They both sported a Sunagaker hit I-8. Close to Konohamaru was Sakura, with Yuden and Mogi behind her legs, all with worried faces. Please, put him down. She said politely. He simply smirked and reared his fist back. No way. This kid needs to be taught a lesson. However, before his fist connected, Konohamaru disappeared as a rock hit the Sunanin's arm, causing him to yelp in pain. On the tree stood Sasuke, his outstretched arm showing he had thrown the rock, and Konohamaru appeared next to Sakura as Naruto appeared in front of them. Boss. The kids yelled with stars in their eyes. The black-haired kid is cute, but the blonde is a total hunk. The Suna girl thought with a blush. The Catman growled as he went for the bandages on his back. You're gonna use Karasu, Kankuro? She yelled. Kankuro simply grinned. Don't worry, Tamari. I will just teach them a lesson. Naruto folded his arms. I don't think your friend on the tree likes that. He said as pressure fell on them. They turned with widened eyes on the tree, where a kid stood. Jigara. Tamari muttered. Kankuro, you're a disgrace to our village. He said as he used a sand shunshin to get down, while Sasuke wondered how he didn't notice him while he was next to him, as he too jumped down, standing between Naruto and Sakura. But Jigara, I was just shut up, or I will feed you to mother. He said in a cold tone, causing Kankuro to stop speaking, fear in his eyes. What are Sunanins doing here? We might be allies, but you can't just waltz in the village. Sakura said. They are here for the Chunin exam, Sakura. Naruto said, observing Gaara. He stood a head taller than Sasuke, with short red hair and green eyes, with tanuki-like black rings under his eyes. He wore a black bodysuit and held a gourd behind his back. He turned to Naruto, sending a wave of killing intent, causing his teammates to sweat, while the children looked scared. Naruto huffed, then sent a massive wave of killing intent, overpowering Gaara's as his teammates struggled. The children were scared even more, and the Sunanins except Gaara were forced to a knee. Gaara had his eyes wide. Mother is afraid of you. He said, causing his teammates to widen their eyes. Naruto narrowed his tell Shukaku to behave, or I will rip its spine personally. He said, Gaara widening even more. What is your name, holder of one? Sabaku no Gaara, these are my brothers Kankuro and Tamari. Naruto nodded. I am Uzumaki Naruto, future lord of the nine. He said, causing Gaara to hold his head in pain for a few seconds. My teammates are Sasuke Uchiha and Haruno Sakura. I will meet you at the exams, Sabaku no Gaara. He said, turning to leave, his teammates following him. Gaara stared at his back for a second, then walked away. Kankuro, Tamari. We are leaving. He said, with them following him. Naruto walked around, his teammates following him. He finally stopped and turned to them. What do you want, you two? He said. Sakura was about to say something, but stopped when Sasuke walked forward, looking at him, then muttered something. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? Sasuke grumbled. I am sorry for the way I treated you. I didn't realize you had it worse than me. And now this. He looked at Naruto seriously. I am sorry for what you go through and for my own behavior. He said, raising his arm. Naruto looked at it for what seemed an eternity, then shaked it. Don't be. We're teammates. We should trust each other, not fight each other. He said, with Sasuke nodding, then turned to Sakura. She looked down and said, Listen, Naruto. I know I have been treating you badly, thinking you were an obstacle to winning Sasuke-kun, but I realize you only wanted to help us. Thanks to you, I have grown less afraid of the life of ninja. I am still weak, but I hopefully won't be a burden anymore. She said, bowing. Naruto looked at her and nodded. Despite your horrible timing, you two. He said, causing them to blush in embarrassment. I will accept your apologies. Now, would you two like to come to my house? We need to talk about the Chunin exams. He said, causing them to look at each other, then nod. He nodded back as they went at his house. Castle to Kezo. Remind me why you call a castle a house, Naruto. Sasuke asked as Sakura looked in wonder at the living room, having only seen the circular hall leading to the stairs to the different rooms and floors of the castle. Naruto placed 3 glasses filled with Kora, along with some sweets on the table, as he sat on his armchair of white leather, because I believe every man's home is his castle. Why can't the same be said for a castle being your home? He shrugged. The living room could easily fit a large amount of people. Its walls were colored a light yellow, and it had a chandelier above them. It had an armchair with 2 couches of 2 people on its sides, a couch for 5 people opposite of that, and 2 couches fitting 10 people, all together having a layer of white leather and forming a rectangle. Inside the rectangle of couches stood a large coffee table made of marble. He had turned the couches slightly, so it looked more like a pointed tip his side of the room. Sasuke and Sakura, both sitting on the same couch, took the drink taking a sip. Wow, it is actually good. Sakura said, getting a nod from Sasuke. Of course it is, Naruto bragged. Anyways, I called you here to talk about the Chunin exams. He said, as they turned serious and looked at him. The Chunin exams are composed of 3 parts. I don't know what the first part is, it changes every year. The second part is a survival exam, located in a large dangerous area. The third part will be an elimination round. However, that occurs weeks after the first 2, so that lords may come. He said, causing them to nod. First, let's think up on our formation. After so much training, I think we each know each other's capabilities. Now, here is what I propose. Since I am an all-around fighter, I can take any role. Sakura, you will be our support. You are to watch our backs, cover us with ninjutsu and heal us. Sasuke, you are the heavy hitter. You will be the one to attack the enemies head-on, using your Nintai combo and Sharingan to crush them. That leaves me to be the tank. I will be the one to block damage and return it with equal force. Any objections? He said, causing them to shake their heads, as it was a solid formation. Now, we also need a team leader. He will be in charge of making strategies, as well as holding the responsibility of bringing the team to the elimination round. Any suggestions? He said, turning to them. Sakura went to say Sasuke-kun, but Sasuke interrupted her. Sakura, I know what you will say, but I think Naruto should lead. He turned to him. You are the better strategist and the superior fighter. You should lead. Causing Sakura to pout but nonetheless nod. Well, I don't like it, I have to agree. You have an aura that screams respect, Naruto. You're the best choice. Causing Naruto to smile. Well, at least you didn't say those apologies to ease my mood. He said, grabbing a sweet rising. Come on, he said, I have something for you too. Between bites as they followed him. Sasuke and Sakura gasped as they saw Naruto's armory. They had only seen so many weapons in a weapon shop. Naruto turned to them. All right, first of all. These 2 are for you. He said, motioning towards 2 armor stands. Sasuke approached them first. The armor was state-of-the-art, made of dark steel, yet looked and felt very light. It was composed of a chestplate, forearm protectors, shoulder pads, knee pads and greaves. He turned to Sakura. Her armor was the same, only it was more feminine looking and was made of white iron. Thank you, Naruto. Both said, too surprised to say anything else. He merely gave them a nod. We're not done yet. Can you use any weapons besides the traditional kunai and shuriken? He asked, causing them to nod. I can use a straight katana. Sasuke said, I can use small fans. She said, causing them to turn to her. What? They are a lady's weapon. She huffed, causing them to sweat drop. Naruto simply grabbed 2 fans and gave them to her. She looked at them. The handle was made of chakra wood, signifying its durability. The fans were made of chakra cloth, painted white, with sakura petals on it. She looked at a small switch, but when she pressed it, she yelped as blades came from the fans. Be careful. Press it once and they come out. Twice and they go back. If you press the switch on the opposite side in either state, the blades are launched. Don't worry, there's an extra set of blades inside the fan. He said, getting a smile and a thank you. He then went and took a jan from the wall. It had a blue handle, with a red gem on it. Its pommel was round and made of iron, looking like it can be used as a blunt weapon. The blade was sharp and made of chakra iron, and was stored inside a blue sheath. He gave it to Sasuke, getting a thanks. He then went to the drawers and grabbed some scrolls. He tossed them to Sasuke and Sakura. Those scrolls are supplies. The weapons scroll contains 10 kunai, 30 shuriken, 5 senbon, 100 explosive notes, and 20 feet of ninja wire. Sort them out as you wish. The other scrolls keep them sealed. Their names suggest their purpose. He said, causing them to nod. He explained more about the weapons and tactics they could use. Time passed and they eventually left. Naruto was now at his room, preparing for tomorrow. He was drinking sake, with a cigar on his side, trying to choke down all the emotions. I must not show emotions. He kept chanting. After a while, he put out the cigar as he closed the lights and fell to bed. He looked at the moon, frowning on yesterday's events. Something tells me these exams will be both awesome and crappy at the same time. He thought, closing his eyes as sleep took him. Done. This chapter was long, a compensation for last chapter. Next chapter are the Chunin exams. Now, about the story. First, you find out a bit of Naruto's life in Konoha, which is of course the sunshine and rainbows of hell as we all know. Next, in this story Minato sealed 5 tails. He split the Kyuubi in half, but instead of soul and chakra, he sealed most of the chakra in Naruto and the rest with the soul in Naruto. Now, Narumi may not be a Jinchuriki, but she has something special. All I will say. As for the battle between Naruto and Sarutobi, that was something I wanted to write for a while. You may ask that with his powers Naruto could win. But he spawned so many jutsus his chakra reserves were dropping rapidly. As for the chakra of the Kyuubi, it will be revealed in a few chapters. Next, Naruto's chakra blast technique is similar to Bleach's Bala, only blue. Any other questions, feel free to ask. Until next time. Thunderito out. Konoha. It was morning in Konoha. The birds were chirping, the sun was glowing, and genins were seen entering the building where the first part of the Chunin exams was held. Tension could be felt as everyone wanted to become a Chunin, an officer of their respective village. Sasuke could be seen leaning on a bench, his eyes closed, waiting for his teammates. He had changed his attire slightly, wearing black shorts instead of white, along with a dark blue shirt. His hit-I-8 cloth was also dark blue. He wore the armor Naruto gave him and had the Jan strapped behind his waist in a horizontal manner. Moments passed as a cry of Sasuke-kun was heard. Sasuke turned, only to find Sakura rushing towards him with a smile on her face. She wore the same outfit, except her pink dress was now red, she also wore Naruto's armor, and the fans were on her hips. Sasuke looked at Sakura up and down, causing her to blush, until Sasuke nodded in approval, albeit hesitantly. "You look good," he said, then turned back to his leaning position with closed eyes, oblivious to Sakura's look of joy. "He noticed me," she said as the inner Sakura did the victory sign. She then sat next to him as they waited for Naruto. Not a minute passed before a puff of smoke was formed and from inside came Naruto. 15 minutes earlier. Naruto could be seen sitting on his room in front of the armor stand in a meditation stance, his fists touching each other as he controlled his breathing and thinking to control the flow of his chakra. A light blue aura formed slightly until it dispersed. He sat up, looking at the armor stand, the weapons prepared and the clothing. He first wore his clothes, he then started putting each armor piece one by one, tying the forearms, clasping the shoulder pads and putting on his hit-I-8. He then clasped the ninja pouches and took the Raijin before he looked at the mirror. He was dressed to survive. He looked at his reflection, but instead of seeing blonde hair and blue eyes, he only saw black gold hair with weird golden eyes. The figure seemed to form a smirk, but his eyes spoke volumes to Naruto. Those eyes that demanded respect and screamed power had seen as much pain and sadness and loneliness as his own eyes. With a shake of the head, he turned from the mirror towards his office table. He gulped down the last core in his glass, then took a cigar and lit it. He took a puff, then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Present. Naruto appeared from the smoke, only to see the looks of surprise from his teammates. Naruto wore a woodland camo bodysuit with a new mask, colored green, hiding everything below the eyes again. He wore pitch black armor that was placed in such a way that it looked glued to the bodysuit. The suit was form-fitting, showing his trained body, getting a slight blush from Sakura. The Raijin was seen hanging from his right hip. On his left hip, however, was another handle, this one made of chakra wood. He had one arm on his belt, the other on his mouth holding the cigar. "What?" he asked with a raised eyebrow. They both shook their heads. "Nothing. Shall we go?" Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded, throwing off the cigar. As they made their way inside, Sakura turned to Naruto. "Naruto, I never asked, but how do you smoke and drink from the mask?" she said, Sasuke looking intrigued as well. He simply placed his hands on his pockets, it is made of a special cloth with lots of tiny openings. "This way, fluids and air can pass," he said, causing her to nod. "But food?" He turned to her. "Why you think when I am not eating ramen, I am turning my food into mush?" Sakura sighed. "That explains a lot. In every mission that required them to eat food they didn't bring, Naruto turned his food into mush." They kept walking until they came into a peculiar scene. A large amount of genin were trying to pass into the room, only to be stopped by 2 genins. Naruto simply kept walking, followed by his teammates, even Sakura noticing the jinjutsu that changed the room number and the meaning behind it. They kept walking until they found the room. Outside stood Kakashi. "So you decided to come, good. Remember what you learned and you will do fine." He turned to Sakura first. "Sakura, I have to say that you have finally become a kunoichi, I am very proud." he said, causing Sakura to beam in happiness. He then turned to Sasuke. I am also happy for you, Sasuke. You look better than when you came in this team. I hope you keep being like this. He said, getting a smirk from Sasuke. He then turned to the final member, Naruto. I am happy. I believe you're the reason for their improvement and I thank you for that. I also would like to ask you. I will protect them. He cut in, thinking of what Kakashi wanted to say. He got a sigh but a nod. Good luck, Team 7. He said, giving them a thumbs up as he disappeared. Naruto turned to his teammates. Ready? He asked, causing them to nod and take places beside him. Naruto nodded. Let's get this show on the road. He said. As soon as he opened the door, a wave of killing intent was blasted upon them. Naruto raised an eyebrow, but threw in his more potent Kai, causing most of the genin to freeze, while the strongest one looking and interested him. He simply went and leaned on a wall, closing his eyes. He frowned however, failing to relax, as the annoying voice of Kiba was heard. Oh look at this. You are here. The Rookie 9 has assembled, man. He said. Naruto felt that the entire Rookie 9 had just entered the door. Shikamaru merely groaned at troublesome. Choji was eating chips, Shino and Hinata were themselves, and Ino was coming towards him. The blonde came at him, a smile and small blush on her face. Hello Naruto-kun. She said, a seductive tone in her voice. All the group turned at her, with Kiba scowling and Hinata mixing jealousy, anger and sadness perfectly. Naruto remained with his eyes closed. Hello Ino. He said. She frowned in mock hurt as he didn't look at her. Don't be mean, Naruto-kun. It's not polite to not look when talking. He simply chuckled. What do you want, Ino? He asked, taking a sip from a magically spawned can of Korra, causing her to smile. Can't I be with my future husband? She said innocently, causing Naruto to almost choke, Kiba to growl, Hinata to faint, Choji to drop his chips, and the rest to gawk. He coughed some more, then with a sigh, put his Korra back as he opened one eye to look at her. Last I checked, it was never official. He said, causing her to frown. What do you get from saying no? He closed his eye. If you want to be my husband, you must do 3 things. First, get to know me, second, get stronger and third, stop dieting, it will harm your figure. He said, causing her to nod, although pout at the last one. He then looked at Hinata's sad face and sighed. If only you had a stronger personality, Hinata. You would no doubt make a powerful kunoichi. But even if you did, your pure heart doesn't deserve a man like me, he thought, closing his eyes again. He then heard a voice. Damn, you rookies sure know how to cause a ruckus. He ignored the man, though noticed the smell of snakes. The genins turned to a boy older than them, with silver hair, wearing eyeglasses and a purple jumpsuit. This is your first time and you make everyone tense. Calm down. He said with a smile. Sakura turned to the fellow genin. Who are you? She asked politely, causing him to grin. Yakushi Kabuto. A fellow genin. This is my 7th time taking this exam, causing them to widen their eyes and Kiba to laugh. So you suck. Kabuto shrugged her. The exams are just very hard. Anyways, I got information for you. He said, holding out some cards. Being in these exams so many times, I got information on anyone. He said. Give me information on Uchiha Sasuke. The voice said. Sakura turned with a smile. Haku. She said, getting a nod and a smile from the girl. She was added in Team 11 with Yakumo and Sai, so they can enter, but Naruto knew already. They lived in a house in his territory after all. Kabuto frowned. Not fun. You know their names. He said, pushing chakra. Haku Mamachi, adopted daughter of Zabuza Mamachi, demon of the mist. She is good at ninjutsu and healing. Partners are Yakumo, Kurama and Sai. She has done 15 D rank missions and 3 C rank missions. He said. Sasuke stepped up. Give me information on Sabaku no Gaara. He said. Kabuto took another card. Sabaku no Gaara, son of the Yondaime Kazekage. He is very good at ninjutsu. His teammates are his siblings, Sabaku no Kankuro and Sabaku no Tamari. He has done 5 D ranks, 10 C ranks, 3 B ranks and an A rank. It is said he has never been injured in any mission. He said, causing the genins to gulp, while our hero simply huffed with his eyes closed, enjoying his relaxation. However, it soon ended. Give me information on Namikaze Naruto. A female voice said. Naruto opened an eye to see who it was, but soon opened both in surprise and anger. There stood 2 girls in his age, only a head shorter. The first had blonde hair and pigtails, with violet eyes. She had a figure most girls her age, and even adults would be envious of, with C-cup breasts and a firm rear. She had perfect curves and not an ounce of fat. She wore a red turtleneck shirt with black skin-tight pants. She also wore red sandals and had a pair of Teko Kage made of chakra metal on her hips and a wakizashi on her back. She was Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto's sister. Next to her stood a girl only slightly shorter, with flowing red hair and piercing blue eyes. She had the same figure as her sister. She wore a navy blue shirt, revealing a little cleavage, with black biker shorts like Sakura's. She had a Kodachi and a Tachi strapped on her waist. She was Uzumaki Narumi, Naruto's second sister. "Hello, Naruto and Isama. It brings us great joy to meet you," they said, bowing slightly. All of Team 7, along with Haku, gulped slightly. Naruto's eye was twitching madly as his hands were curled into fists. "What are you two doing here?" he spat out. Naruto took a step forward, smiling, oblivious to her brother's fury. "Sama and Kasama brought us here to participate in the Chunin exams. And to get to meet you, Oni-sama," she said with a grin. Narumi nodded with a smile. "We heard so much about you. We wish we were here to the village and live with you," she said, with Naruto getting painful flashbacks. Naruto stepped up and went to hug him. "Don't be shy, Oni-sama," she said playfully. However, she soon stopped as Naruto quickly grabbed her by the throat and raised her in the air, his killing intent rolling oven waves. He looked at her fearful eyes with his own gold ones. "You dare? After all I've been through, you and my parents just dare come and think everything is good? That I would welcome you with open arms? You dare?" he growled, causing her to whimper in fear. He then looked at his other sister, who was struggling to stand tall from the intensity of his kai. "And you come to me and say with your happy-go attitude you heard so much about me? That you wanted to live with me? You wouldn't last a day, much less 12 years. He growled until he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned, looking at Sasuke, who looked at him, struggling to stay conscious. "Stop, Naruto. Half the room will die," he yelled, causing Naruto to stop. With a final growl, he dropped Naruto and released the pressure, with the room gasping for air. He looked around, noticing many genins on the floor. He turned to see most of the rookies unconscious, including the girls. With a sigh, he said, "Go wake Sakura and Hinata." The Sasuke, as he went to Ino. He crouched down and lightly patted her shoulder. She woke up with a gasp, looking into Naruto's blue eyes. "It's over," he told her with bitterness in his mouth as he rose her to her feet. She looked at him. "You alright, Naruto-kun?" she said, her voice trembling from the after effects. He nodded as he looked at his sisters with narrowed eyes. "Don't get in my way. You may be my sisters, but I won't show mercy," he said, then went back to the wall to calm his nerves, the eyes of every person in the room following him. At that moment, a puff of smoke appeared in the room. Jounin Lounge. In the Jounin Lounge, the leaders of the genin teams participating were sitting in couches, chatting, both from Konoha and from other villages. The main talk in the air were two things. First, the return of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, and second, Uzumaki Naruto. The news spread like wildfire to every nation in less than a day. To say the least, most Kage and a lot of Jounin were ashamed on those two for abandoning their child, much less a prodigy. They heard of Naruto's power. After all, the boy only 12 and was already an A-rank ninja. Speaking of his parents, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina were in the corner of the room, next to the Sandaime Hokage, who was sitting on his chair and had a Kakashi. Kushina turned to Sarutobi. "Do you think he thinks of us, Sandaime-sama?" he asked. Sarutobi turned to her with a frown. "The question you should be asking is if he thinks positively of you. And the answer is no," he said, causing her to sadden. Minato looks sad too. "What do you think he will do regarding our daughters?" Sarutobi looked at him. "As long as those two don't mention his past, he will simply ignore them." "You did tell them about his life, right?" he asked, causing him to sweat. "Minato," Sarutobi warned, then a very familiar pressure fell. After a minute it disappeared. Sarutobi sighed. "I think the fact that you escaped death made you an idiot," he said. Minato turned to him with sadness in his eyes as Sarutobi looked at Kushina. "And you? I expected more from the last Kyuubi Jinchuriki." Kushina. "You know how it feels to be a Jinchuriki, yet you thought that Naruto won't live the life of one. You're as much, if not more, responsible," he said angrily. Both looked down. They were thinking of ways to make up for it. Sadly, they would make very poor choices. Exam room. Ibiki Marino came out of the smoke, along with the Chunin examiners. "Alright, maggots. Sit down and shut up," he yelled, with the genins quickly sitting down. Naruto was in the middle of front row, Sasuke was upper right corner, and Sakura was in the middle left. He sensed where everyone he knew was, sensing with a scowl on his face that Narumi was 5 seats to his right and Naruto 4 seats behind him. "The first part is a written test. You got 9 questions in front of you and 1 that will be given later. Each question is worth 10 points. If you don't answer a question or answer wrongly, you lose a point. The goal is for your team to have a total of at least 20 points," he said, causing many eyes to widen. "If you don't get the points, your team fails. If one is caught cheating 5 times, he and his team fails." He continued, getting more wide-eyed looks. "You have 1 hour. Begin," he yelled, the genins instantly picking up their pencils. Naruto looked at the questions with a raised eyebrow. "These are too hard for any genin, not to mention most Chunin. Well, Sakura would know them thanks to her book smarts, and I know these from Anbu training. So, the purpose must be to cheat," he thought, shrugging as he answered every question. Once he finished, he folded his arms and closed his eyes. Ibiki looked at him. What is Akami doing? He thought. He of course knew Naruto's true rank as he trained the boy in interrogation and got quite a lot of prisoners from him. He knew the questions weren't hard for him, but he wondered what he would do. He mentally shrugged, thinking he was calming down from his outburst. He felt the Kai and knew his family was involved. Speaking of Naruto, he was using his unique sensory skills to find what the rest were doing. Sasuke was using his Sharingan, Ino her Shintention no Jutsu, Tenten used mirrors, Hinata and Niji her Byakugan, Kiba used Akamaru, and so sensed an eye of sand in the air, knowing it was Gaara's. He also sensed that Naruto used a seal to spy on people, and Narumi had her eyes closed and wrote down the answers. He mentally narrowed his eyes, keeping his eye on her. Even if she isn't a Jinchuriki, she is in Uzumaki, meaning she has lots of chakra, she is a Namikaze as well, meaning she is fast, and of course has few ninjutsu skills. That ability though, I wonder. Whatever it is, I must be careful. He thought. When the hour passed, Ibiki had kicked around 15 teams, 5 from Konoha. Alright. Put the pencils down. I will give the final question now. However, I must ask if you want to take the question. What kind of thought is that? Said Kiba. Ibiki continued. If you decide not to take it, you and your team will be disqualified and can try another time. He said, with Naruto yelling. Then of course we will take it. Ibiki then smirked. But if you take it and answer wrong, you will be disqualified and forbidden from taking part in the Chunin exams ever again. He said, causing an uproar. What? But many people have failed these exams and got to try again. A random Kumo genin roared. Ibiki shrugged. They didn't have me as proctor. My exam, my rules. If you want not to take the question, raise your arm. Steadily, people started raising their arms and their team left. After a while, the pressure in the room had risen. Sakura choked, going to raise her arm. However, Naruto spoke. Sakura, if you raise that arm, you will lose more than a chance of promotion. He growled, his nerves not the best. She gulped, nodding, putting it down. Naruto then turned to Ibiki. The answer is the meaning of a leader. Are we done now? He said, causing Ibiki to look at him, then to the rest. All of you pass. He said with a smirk, causing another uproar. Shut up. He yelled. The point of the final question was how to act as a leader. A Chunin is an officer. Sometimes, he will face a difficult decision. It is important to know what to do. He explained. Then what was the point of the other questions? Tamari said. Information gathering. The questions were hard to force you to cheat without being caught. A ninja must be able to gather and keep information. He said you passed the first part. Now, wait for the proctor. For as soon as he said that, a puff of smoke appeared, with a banner rising. The banner read the sexy and single, Mitarashi Anko. From the smoke, a very peculiar woman came. She had short purple hair and brown eyes. She possessed a killer figure, amplified by her clothes. She wore a fishnet shirt with an orange miniskirt and a yellow trench coat above that. Hey Ibik, wow. Have you lost your touch? So many teams are left. She said, causing him to snort. We might just have some good ninjas this year. Speaking of good ninjas, look at the front row in the middle, he said, causing Naruto to twitch his eye. She turned, gaining stars in her eyes. Wolfie. She yelled, rushing to him, causing him to twitch more. She went to smother him with her melons, but he shunshined next to Ibiki. Gee, thanks. He said. Ibiki shrugged. Your fault. As soon as Anko got over it, she coughed. Alright. Everyone meet me at the Forest of Death in 10 minutes. If you're late you're disqualified. She said, she and Naruto disappearing as the genins rushed out. Ibiki sighed, looking at the papers until he came to Naruto's. He narrowed his eyes at a note in the bottom, then went to inform the Hokage. Forest of Death. Alright maggots. She said to the gathered genins. This is training ground 44, or the Forest of Death. She said, with Kiba snorting. It doesn't look scary. He said, only for her to smirk. Tell that to the man eating plants and the mutated predators. She smirked, causing many to gulp. She took out a white and a black scroll. This is a heaven scroll, this is an earth one. Each team will get one scroll. The objective is to go to the tower in the middle with one earth and one heaven scroll. You have 5 days. She said. What about food? Choji asked. There's plenty of edible plants and animals on the forest. She said, noticing Naruto didn't pay attention. With a smile, she threw a kunai at him, only for him to catch it and throw it back with double the speed. She dodged it with a smirk, then heard a voice behind her. Your kunai miss. A Kusagakure Kunoichi said, causing her to smile dangerously. You better not get behind me again. She said, causing her to nod. I am sorry. I just got excited. She said, with Anko nodding. Each team go to their respective gates. You have 5 minutes to prepare. She said. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura stood in front of their gate. We have a heaven scroll. Naruto said, putting it in a seal on his arm. You know what to do, right? We got all we need. We travel in triangle formation. Sakura, you're on back. Sasuke, you're middle. I will be front. First day, we will get as much distance as possible and try to encounter a team. If we don't, we set up traps to slow down others and potentially get an opportunity for a scroll. Keep your eyes peeled," he said, the others nodding. Sakura however added, "How about we form a password?" She said, the others nodding. "Alright. We shall ask a question who took down Tora. The answer will be the respective code," he said, causing them to nod. "Wait. What happens if we get split?" Sasuke asked with Naruto turning to him. "If we get split, I will come to you." "No worries," he said, with Sasuke nodding. Naruto outstretched his arm ready. Both teammates placed their arms above his own, raising them to the air. "Yes," they said. They turned as the bell rang with the opening of the gate and they rushed inside. Part 2 of the Chunin exams had just begun. Forest of Death. Naruto and his team were rushing in the Forest of Death. They had been running for hours, with a 15-minute break every 3 hours for Sakura, and yet they hadn't found any team. Not even Naruto's sensory skills, which could go for over 100 meters, found any chakra signal, and he used it every 100 meters. Naruto was getting agitated. He knew the chances of finding an earth scroll on the first day weren't many, but he expected to come across at least one of the many teams in the forest. But he had no luck so far. He looked to the sky, seeing the sun quickly going down. "We will now search for a good spot to camp," he told them, getting nods. After a few minutes, they stumbled on a rocky part of the forest. Naruto looked around, then with an earth jutsu, made a small cave-like opening. They sat down as he lit up fire and heated the rations. They ate in silence until Sakura spoke. Naruto." He looked at her. "How bad was your life in Konoha?" she said, causing both Naruto and Sasuke to stop, with the latter looking at the former. With a sigh, he placed his food down. "I guess I should start from the beginning. We're teammates, it's only fair," he said. They nodded, looking intently as he took out a kunai and rotated from its ring. "Well, after I was born and my parents abandoned me due to certain circumstances regarding me, the village hated me. Even as a boy, I had as many assassination attempts as a cage of a medium-power village. I was put into many orphanages, but they all kicked me out after a while. From the age of 4 to 6, I stayed in an apartment paid by the Hokage. During that time, I had to learn to live on my own. I learned to cook, to wash, to repair, anything to take care of the house. It was difficult, of course, the stores always kicked me out, so I had to scavenge in order to survive. At that time, every once in a while I would get another attempt or get beaten by drunken villagers. However, my apartment one day was lit on fire, with me in it. I jumped off, only to fall into an alley, where a mob waited. It was the first bad beating I experienced, with broken bones and cuts, among other things. This continued for a year, until one fateful night," he said, shaking his head and biting his lips, not wanting to remember. By that point Sakura had tears in her eyes, while Sasuke had a large frown and looked at him sadly. "Once I became 8, I went to the Hokage and took part in a special department of workers. I learned to fight there. After that, once I became 12, I was given my inheritance," he finished. Sakura was sniffing, while Sasuke looked down. "I thought my brother killing my entire clan was the worst. But you, Naruto, you had it even worse. How are you still sane?" he asked, causing him to frown. "I am not," he said, causing them to look at him. "What do you mean?" Sakura said. "Before I went to that department, a Yamanaka under the orders of the Hokage sealed off all the most painful experiences I have. Even still, all I remember is glimpses, and I am happy because if I remembered more, I wouldn't be the same," he said, causing them to stay silent. He shrugged. "Enough of that. We need to sleep. It's important to save our strength," he said. With a nod, they slept in sleeping bags, with Naruto taking first watch. He stood with 2 kunai on his hands, his breathing slow, appearing almost dead. Morning came, with Team 7 preparing to move out. They erased all signs of their existence from their spot. He turned to them. "Ready?" he asked, causing them to nod. He nodded back and rushed off. "Move out," he said, his teammates following him. After an hour or so, Naruto suddenly stopped. He raised a curled fist, his teammates stopping as well. He looked around. "Stay here," he said, disappearing. They simply waited for him. Naruto stood on top of a branch, observing an Omegakure team below. With a smirk, he took out 2 of his kunai. He stood upside down the tree, then with a tug he fell down. As soon as he was on range, he thrusted both kunai into 2 of the 3 members' throats. Blood gushed out, with the third teammate turning in shock, but soon did. Hand seals. Water release. Wild water wave. He yelled in anger, releasing a jet of water towards Naruto, which he dodged and did a wind release vacuum great sphere. Sending a large orb of wind that crushed the aim ninja on a wall, the microscopic blades in the sphere killing him. He searched their bodies, trying to find the scroll. He smirked from his crouching position as he found it, but sighed as it was another heaven scroll. He soon frowned, however, at the sound of hissing. He turned only to jump back as a giant snake crushed the spot he stood. With a growl, he released many shuriken and did a wind release. Gale palm. Causing them to go faster, easily piercing the snake, killing it. He, however, found 3 more snakes rushing at him. He took out kunai with explosive notes and sent them at the beasts, chunks of flesh flying. Soon even more came, easily surrounding him. With a growl, he yelled wind release. Vacuum serial waves. Releasing blades of wind wherever he looked from his mouth. He took the chakra handle and formed a K's no Yaba with it. He rushed left and right, killing snakes, until he came to the source of the problem. A humongous black snake capable of spitting out many others. He quickly took 100 explosive notes and rushed at the snake, using jounin speed to slap it in different parts of his body. He then threw the rest inside its mouth and did a kai. With a large explosion, the snake was no more. That was a snake summon, and not one of Anko's Orochimaru Sasuke, Sakura. He widened his eyes, rushing to them. He arrived, only to see Sasuke getting bitten by Orochimaru. Orochimaru turned to him with a smirk. "Hello Naruto-kun. Did you like my gift?" Naruto growled, holding his sword, releasing his chakra. With a smirk, Orochimaru threw kunai at him, only for him to slice them in half as he rushed at him at cage speed and decapitate him, only to turn into a mud clone. He thought, dodging a punch. He went to swing at him, only for Orochimaru to duck and sent a kick at his palm, shattering the wood handle. Before the K's no Yaba dispersed, he swinged his arm at him, the blade released at him, cutting him in half, only to turn into mud again. He heard a cry of wind release. Wind cutter. Only for a wave of sharp wind to come his way, forcing him to use Kawarimi. Wind release. Drilling air bullet. Naruto yelled, spitting spheres of wind at great speeds. Orochimaru dodged them, then quickly engaged Naruto in a taijutsu match. Meanwhile, Sakura was attending Sasuke as she had made a temporary shelter and looked at the ongoing match, praying for Naruto to win and help Sasuke. Orochimaru noticed her, then with a smirk disappeared and appeared above her, ready to strike her with a kunai. Naruto cursed and appeared in front of him, grabbing his kunai arm and redirecting it at Orochimaru's own torso. However, he turned into sticky mad, with Orochimaru appearing above him. He tried to use his arm but failed, allowing Orochimaru to bite him in the neck. He yelled in pain, however, he used his free hand to make a K's no Yaba and sliced at Orochimaru's face, making a large scar from his cheek to his torso, causing him to scream in anger. He shined away, with Naruto collapsing to the ground. The terrified Sakura took him in and placed him near Sasuke. 2 hours had passed after the encounter with Orochimaru, Sakura standing on guard with a kunai. She hoped they'd wake up soon. To her misfortune, an Itagakure team appeared. The leader, a man wrapped in bandages, spoke. "Give us Sasuke Chiha," he said, with Sakura looking ready for a fight. He approached, causing her to smirk, but stopped. He and his team jumped over a patch of land, obviously moved to make a trap pathetic. He spoke as he took a step until he realized Sakura's smirk. The moment he stepped on the ground, she cut a nearby string as a giant log fell down. Zaku yelled Zankuha, releasing a blast of wind that destroyed the log, causing Sakura to gasp and him to smirk. He went to attack her, only to get a kick from Rock Lee. "Don't worry Sakura-chan. I will protect you with my life," he said. Sakura nodded, hoping Naruto would awake soon. Unbeknownst to them, inside Naruto's mind, a very unique scene unfolded. A white snake slithered around, going through the black hallways of what looked to be a castle. Eventually, he descended some stairs, which were slightly lit by aura-like red flames. It descended further until it found what appeared to be Naruto's consciousness, asleep before a large metal door. It was surrounded by ceiling tags, ceiling chains and other security measures. But the snake sent an acidic stream that melted the central lock. Slowly, all the other locks opened. It had no idea what it unleashed. As soon as the door opened, a gold stream of power flew out, the flames lighting the room, clinging on it, getting absorbed from it until a giant wolf's head flew out, incinerating the snake. Then, the most horrible memory kicked in. The snake had no idea what it just did, speeding the progress of unleashing the most horrible thing into the world. Naruto's memory, age 7. Warning. Graphic scene. If you can't stand rape, I suggest turning away. The 7-year-old Naruto could be seen running for his life. Behind him, a huge mob chased him, holding torches, pikes and whatever weapon they could use. Even ninjas were in the mob, holding katanas and kunai. Naruto ran, trying to go as far as he could with his little legs, unfortunately it wasn't enough. A number of kunai hit his legs and shoulder, forcing him to fall on the ground. The mob surrounded him and started beating him. Naruto cried, begging for the torture to stop, but it fell upon deaf ears. They carried on for hours, until it came to a halt. Naruto forced a small smile on his face, thinking it was over, however, the mob had other plans. Suddenly, 2 hands grabbed him and raised him in the air, the mob going to a direction outside the village. Somehow, no one noticed 100 villagers and shinobi leaving. Or they did, but didn't care. The mob lead him to a hill. There, they stripped him of his clothes and tied him up in spiked heated chains. The boy screamed as the hot metal pierced and pressed his body, burning his skin and flesh. However, he felt something press on his rear. Horror on his face at what it meant, he shakily turned to find a man with a wide grin on his face, ready to penetrate him. "Please, I did nothing wrong," the boy muttered painfully, causing the man to scowl. "Nothing wrong, nothing wrong. You killed my family. I am returning the favor," he yelled, pushing inside with a wider grin, while Naruto screamed in pain, tears flowing like a river. He kept thrusting until he released inside the boy. The boy gasped, thinking it was over, but it continued, people taking turns, some even using the poor boy's mouth when the boy wasn't yelling to stop. Eventually, they stopped and took off his chains. Naruto's mind was in a haze, laying in a puddle of blood and semen, his body going numb. However, he did feel the pain from a new set of hot chains. The villagers took the poor boy and tied him on a cross. "Go back to hell, demon," they yelled as they lit the cross on fire, with Naruto on it, trying to kill him like a witch. Naruto screamed loudly, chakra rolling of him, the painful experience activating it. Before he lost unconsciousness, which in his mind was dying, he saw with half-lidded eyes a furious Hokage and his Anbu cutting villagers and shinobi alike left and right. Forest of Death, 20 minutes after the arrival of Rock Lee. Sakura looked at the scene with fearful eyes. After Rock Lee's arrival, both Team 9 and 10 arrived, trying to help her. However, the Odo Genins were too strong. A minute ago, Sasuke woke up, chakra rolling off him, asking her who did it. When Zaku pointed at him, he went to attack him. However, they all stopped as the heaviest pressure they ever felt fell on the area. They turned, noticing Naruto, gold chakra with a growing black tint rolling off him, reaching cage level. His skin was red, smoke rising from it. Dark lightning crackled around him as the ground shook with power. He was slowly rising, his hair swapping colors, his nails turning into claws, his teeth into fangs. He opened his eyes, turned into a sickly gold with a slit, shining. He stood at his legs, his frame getting larger, cracks appearing on his skin, from which black light appeared. He started screaming, the ground shaking with power as the curse mark on his neck glowed, a purple haze leaving it. The screams only got louder, going through the entire forest, the cracks widening. Then, with a final yell, he exploded in an orb of black light, to the horror of all. However, the orb stayed before a thin gold beam rose to the sky, darkening it with clouds filled with lightning bolts as a large earthquake struck the area. Winds howled as the gold beam grew more powerful, roars coming from it. Soon, it decreased, going lower and lower until it disappeared, revealing a figure. It was a man. He stood at 5'9", with pitch black hair and a golden bang in the shape of a bolt. His eyes were void, gold with a slit, similar to a wolf's. His body was ripped, the muscles looking like they were made with a chisel, and they could snap rocks in half. He didn't have sleeves and his pants were shorts. Suddenly, his eyes glowed before he held his head and roared in the heavens, a black beam twice the size of the golden one rising. Everywhere in the forest, you could hear animals roaring as well. The beam of power was felt in the entire elemental nations, not to mention the entire existence. Orochimaru had just started the prophecy. Hokage Tower. Hiruzen widened his eyes, turning into the black beam, along with the rest of the room. Inside were Jiraiya, Minato, Kushina and all of Konoha's Jounin. Hiruzen looked in fear, feeling the very familiar power, the same as the one 5 years ago, only it was stronger and more potent. Minato and Kushina looked in fear, as their children were in the room, with the senseis worrying for their students. Hiruzen placed a hand on his chest. "God have mercy on us all," he remembered, he thought. Makai. Makai was in an uproar. Lava was coming off the ground, the earth shook, and the sky was surrounded by lightning. Every demon felt the power. Outside the gate to the 9th level stood a small demon army camp. They were the armies of the 9 Biju. Taken from their summoning realm, mutated, they served the 9 Biju and of course their master. When they felt the power, which shook the immovable 9th gate to its core, they rose, flaring their power in excitement. "All hail the seat of Shinju. All hail the seat of Shinju." They roared in excitement. Their superior roared, "Enough. Demons of the seed. Inform the rest of the 9 armies." He roared, getting more roars of approval. Ukai. Ukai was no different. Many of the residents looked down from the clouds, seeing the black mist rising. The city was in a lockdown immediately, as gods turned to look at it. In a far corner of Bukai, a white marble tower laid. Inside, a group of what appeared to be elves rose from their seats, taking out their silver blades. "The tree lives. The tree lives," they yelled. Their commander shouted, "Begin the plan. Start the preparation for the arrival of our god," he yelled, "the forest of death." The Genins looked scared on the black beam. They didn't know what the hell was going on, they just knew Naruto was causing it. Soon, the beam died down, leaving Naruto panting, his fangs clenched shut while his eyes scanned the clearing. A black aura surrounded him as he seemed to be sniffing. Soon, he laid eyes on Zaku and disappeared, only for the genins to hear a cry of pain. They turned and looked horrified at what they saw. On the ground laid Zaku, his arms having massive cuts in different places. Blood flowed from them freely as the elbow looked broken as well. Behind him was Naruto, who looked at his bloodied hands, then turned to Dosu. Dosu sent his strongest sound wave at him, only for Naruto to shrug it off. He reared his mouth back and released a roar that sent Dosu flying onto a tree, the tree cracking and breaking Dosu's ribs. He then turned to the female of the team, who was slowly backing away. His eyes looked at her up and down, and he approached her, like a predator following his prey. Please. She said, collapsing to the ground, her arms covering her head. I'll do anything. She stuttered, only to yelp scared as Naruto grabbed her by the throat and picked her up, holding her in the air. He sniffed at her, his eyes glowing, his instincts kicking in. With a grin, he bit down on her neck, causing her to scream and lose consciousness. He dropped her to the ground as he turned to Dosu. Give me your scroll and I will spare yours and that insect's life. The girl is mine though. A primal voice said, in a tone that said obey or die. Dosu simply nodded, threw him the scroll and grabbed Zaku and left. Naruto caught it, looking as it was an earth scroll, then made it disappear in a puff of smoke as he dropped the spare heaven scroll near the Konoha team's feet. He turned to both Sakura and Sasuke. Let's go. He said with a growl, only for Sasuke to scowl and attack him, surrounded by dark chakra. Naruto sent a punch in his hand, creating a shockwave, then chopped his neck. He pressed 2 fingers on the seal, then destroyed it with a pulse of chakra. He grabbed Sasuke and Kin, then turned to Sakura. She simply nodded fearfully, following him as he disappeared in the trees. Shikamaru's fearful frame shook itself as he grabbed the scroll. Troublesome former blonde. He said. After an hour of running, Team 7 appeared in the tower. He dropped Sasuke and Sakura to the ground, slapped a tag with a symbol on Kin's back, then gave the scrolls to Sakura, open them and throw them to the ground. A Chunin will come. Tell him to summon the Hokage. He said, before collapsing to the ground, his aura disappearing. Sakura did as he told, with Iruka appearing. Congratu, what happened? He yelled upon noticing the fallen genins. See, call the Hokage. Sakura said, then fell to the ground, her physical and mental energy drained, as Iruka called a fellow Chunin to alert the Hokage. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto looked around his changed mindscape. No longer did it have the appearance of a dungeon, rather it looked like a dusty throne room of a castle. It was a long and wide hallway, made of black marble, filled with dust. Red banners were on the walls, the color worn off from decay, the cloth cut in many different places. The roof has a cylinder shape, with what appeared to be spider webs on it. Unlit chandeliers were hanged from the roof, the gold obscured with rust. He kept walking looking at the different sections until he came across 10 circular steps. On top was a circle, with the throne in the middle. The throne appeared to be one of a conqueror. It was made of black metal, with what appeared to be 10 united tails as the back of the throne. The arms of the throne have a wolf head, the mouth open. Above the throne room was a circular window. Surprisingly, the window's stained glass had his insignia on it. He looked at the throne again, noticing 2 things. 1. The left wolf head had a clear glass orb on its maws, while the right had what appeared to be a black chain ring. He tried pulling the ring first, but nothing happened. He then pulled the orb, however, with a tug, a gold light appeared from the orb, shooting off like a rocket and traveled around the room, all under Naruto's surprised gaze. Eventually, the orb slowed down until it stopped 2 feet away from Naruto. A voice was heard from the orb. Welcome. It said, its tone welcoming, yet demanding of respect. Naruto felt the power from this orb and unconsciously took a step back. What are you? He asked, a laugh escaping from the orb. Really, I thought you would know your ancestor. It said, playfully. Naruto raised his eyebrow. I got many ancestors. He said, causing the orb to laugh. Of course. How about this? I am the one who once shook the world to its core. I am the one whose existence changed everything. I am the one above all the ones. He said. Naruto thought the riddle and widened his eyes. He immediately fell to one knee. Shinju-sama, he said. The orb turned into what appeared to be a man made of wood. The Shinju smiled. No need to kneel before me, my legacy. He said, with Naruto standing up. Where are we? He said. The Shinju glowed a bit. Your mind, or rather your reformed mind. Do you remember what happened? He asked, with Naruto frowning. All I remember is slicing Orochimaru, the rest are unclear pictures. He muttered. Orochimaru did something stupid, which worked to our advantage and disadvantage. He awakened my power hidden in my will, which was placed on you. Right now, you are beyond a demigod. You are what you would be at the age of 15. He said, with Naruto widening his eyes. The bad thing is the way you activated your true power, along with the fact that at the age of 16, you will become a full ageless god. The good thing is, it gives us time to get you used to your current and future power. Until the time comes to become the full Shinju, I shall reside within you. He said, with Naruto nodding. I thank you for that. This power, he said, curling his palm into a fist, it's so strong and potent, almost intoxicating. I keep hearing my instincts, he said. Don't worry, you will learn to control it. He said, oh by the way, well you got to the tower fueled by your instincts, you made a slave. He chuckled, with Naruto blinking. I did what he asked. A slave. As a god, much less a primordial one, you're allowed not only to take as many mates as you like, but also as many slaves too. And no, it can't be undone. Her fate is bound to yours, if you die she dies. Luckily, it ain't the other way around. He explained, with Naruto sighing. All right. Can't help it I guess. Anything else I should worry in my current state? He said, folding his arms. Shinju nodded. 1. You have an increased libido. 2. Demons will be drawn to your power, males will try to kill you, females dominate you. If you defeat them without killing them, they can be your slaves in both cases, or mates in female cases. Also, until you learn to control this power, the more you battle the crazier you will get. Once you learn to control it, only a strong battle will have this effect. Finally, you can now control 2 god weapons at the same time, and 10 holy and demonic weapons. He said, with Naruto sighed even more. They continued conversing about Naruto's status. Tower. Naruto opened his eyes, yawning and stretching his arms. He looked around, noticing he was in a room inside the tower. With a yawn, he stood up, then looked down, growling as he ripped off the hospital robe from his body. He unsealed a pair of boxers from a seal, putting them on, then looked at his body in the mirror. He narrowed his now permanently gold eyes, while touching his black hair. So this is me at 15, he thought, then smirked. God, do I look good? He said, then put on new clothes. He put on a simple blue bodysuit, however both pants and shirt were too short. He let the shirt as it was, defining his muscles. He taped white bandages on the part his pants no longer covered. He nodded to himself as he clenched his fist. The preparations have begun. Soon the world will bow to the power of the Alpha, he thought, releasing a burst of power as his eyes shined. Tower. 5 days have passed since the beginning of the second part of the Chunin exams. Now we find all the genin who survived inside a small arena in the tower, hearing the Hokage's speech regarding the Chunin exams. However, many eyes were observing Naruto regarding the power output he released. They didn't believe a mere human could release so much power, Jinchuriki or not. Whispers were flying in the air. Naruto paid them no mind, instead he tried to control his emotions. His memories had been fully unsealed and a terrifying fury was dwelling inside him, for the village, for his parents. He didn't know what he would do if he met either of those two, but the biggest possibility is that it would not be pleasant. His sisters were a complicated matter. He didn't hate them, unless you count how naive they were. However, if they somehow pissed him off, he'd show no remorse. He looked up a bit, seeing that the Jounin senseis were in the podium, and next to the third stood Kushina and Minato. Kushina smiled a bit seeing Naruto looking at her. Naruto simply huffed as he turned back, just in time to hear the proctor's explanation. The proctor was Gekko Hade, a brown-haired Jounin that was always sick and Konoha's Kenjutsu master, since Naruto was an all-around fighter. These are the preliminary rounds. Due to your numbers, 3 of you will fight at once. The winner between the 3 will get a spot in the finals. There will be 12 matches. This board will draw names at random. Once the first match is selected, everyone except the contenders must go to the upper floor. He said as he nodded to Anko. Anko nodded back and pressed the button. The board lit up, showing all the contenders in a line. It started going through names until 3 popped up. Everyone except Uchiha Sasuke, Akimichi Choji and Ron Kanjiki are to leave. He said, with the genins clearing out. Before he left, Naruto whispered, be careful. He said, only for Sasuke to nod. The genins stood in a triangle formation, preparing to fight. Begin. Yelled Hade. In an instant, Sasuke sent 5 kunai with explosive notes towards Ron as he rushed to Choji. Choji used a human bullet tank to try and maul Sasuke. Sasuke jumped above it while slicing with his Janidim, blood spurting out. Choji stopped the technique as he collapsed to one knee. I know you don't want to fight me, Choji. I don't want either. Just give up. No one will accuse you of surrendering to a stronger opponent or because you don't want to hurt someone you know. He said, pointing his sword at him. Choji looked at him, then smiled slightly and nodded. He turned to Hade. Proctor, I quit. He said, with Hade nodding. He sent a thumbs up to Sasuke on his way to the infirmary. Sasuke turned to Ron, only to widen his eyes. Ron's shirt was burned in the sleeves, yet his arms looked fine. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, going through Hand Seal's fire release. Great fireball. He said, spitting out a stream of flames, with Ron making a cross with his arms. The fire seemed to be held off by him. Sasuke jumped above the flames, swinging his sword downwards. To his surprise, Ron caught it. Sasuke looked at Ron's arm with widened eyes. Its skin was replaced by black steel, similar to the one Naruto's armor was made of. Ron smiled. Steel release. Impervious armor. He yelled, then used his second steel arm to send a fist Sasuke's way. It hit him in the shoulder, sending him flying. Sasuke stood up, holding his shoulder. What was that? He asked. Steel release. The specialty of my clan. He said with a smirk. We can surround our skin and body in tough steel. It can't be pierced by normal weapons. Sasuke thought for a second then smirked. We shall see. He said and rushed at him, making hand signs as chakra appeared on his arm. He sent his fist forward towards the man's stomach, only for Ron to smirk. Are you stupid? He asked, surrounding his stomach with metal, hearing the clang of Sasuke's fist. Sasuke smirked and yelled lightning release. Lightning rod. Ron widened his eyes, then yelled in pain as the metal amplified the electricity and burned his inside. He fell to the ground as his eyes had rolled back. Sasuke sighed, but fell to one knee, holding his shoulder. Winner. Sasuke Uchiha. Hate said, with a medic coming and leading Sasuke to the infirmary to be examined. The Rookie 9 and Team Guy were watching the match with excited looks. Naruto merely stood next to Team 11, his hands folded, leaning against the wall with closed eyes. He was interested in what else Ron's steel release could do so far. I know it turns the skin into black metal. The only weaknesses would be extreme heat, lightning and of course, weapons made of ascended metals, like the Raijin or the Kusanagi. He thought. He opened his eyes as the proctor announced the next match. Narumi Namikaze, Sai and Dari. He said. As she passed Naruto she said with a smile, wish me luck Oni-sama. Only to get a huff, causing her to sadden a bit, along with her parents who noticed the exchange, if you could call it that. As she entered the arena, she narrowed her eyes at her opponents, observing them. The Kumo-nin has a sword, so he must be proficient in Kinjutsu, and from the looks of it, it's made of chakra metal, thus skill in lightning jutsu is the most probable. As for him, his tanto also indicates such, however, I have no idea what that scroll is. Maybe Fuinjutsu skill. She thought as she unsheathed her Kodachi, preferring to keep her other arm free. Dari slowly took his sword out as Sai was ready with his scroll. Begin. Hayate called, with Narumi speeding towards Dari, him doing the same, both of their blades coated in chakra. A loud clang was heard as sparks flew from the clash. They struggled, trying to overpower each other, but soon had to leap back as a lion made of ink crashed on their spot. He can animate his paintings. They thought as Sai drew more and more lions, the beasts rushing at them. Narumi quickly cut down two, only to do a hand seal fire release. Great fireball. She yelled, releasing a large orb of fire on the monsters, melting them. Sai narrowed his eyes as he continued drawing monsters, but sending them to Dari before he unsheathed his tanto and rushed towards Narumi. Dari groaned, stabbing his sword to the ground and did hand seal's lightning release. Thunderbolt. He said, both hands surrounded by orbs of light as he released lightning bolts from them, destroying the beasts. He grabbed the blade and rushed at Narumi, considering her a bigger threat. She narrowed her eyes as she pushed Sai back, then she took out her tachi, holding both swords in her hands. A Kinjutsu fight ensued, with both sides holding their ground and getting their share of scratches. Narumi however had enough. She sent a kick towards Sai's stomach before using it to propel above Dari. She leaped back many yards, sheathing her blades and taking out kunai and throwing them. The kunais had explosive notes, forcing Dari to dodge. Sai wasn't so lucky, getting hit by them as he was sent to the wall by the explosion. He struggled to get up, only for a kunai with a tag getting stabbed next to him. The tag lit up as a blast of chakra was released, along with a bright flash and sound that sent him to unconsciousness. Dari went through hand seals, as to Narumi's surprise, black lightning run through his arm lightning release. Black Panther. He yelled, a panther made of black electricity rushing Narumi's way. She frowned before she did hand seal's wind release. Drilling air bullet. She yelled, spitting enormous orbs of wind. A large explosion was set off as both genins rushed at each other. Narumi had her arm on her tachi's hilt, with Dari already swinging his blade. She narrowly dodged it before unsheathing her blade, running at Dari's side as blood gushed out. Dari fell to the ground, the pain leading to unconsciousness. Narumi sheathed her blade and wiped the sweat from her forehead. Winner Namikaze Narumi. Hate said, with the genins cheering. She smiled, nodding to her parents, only to frown as Naruto was in the same position. With a sigh she went back to her sister. She is good. Haku said, with Yakumo nodding. Naruto didn't respond, but inwardly he was thinking Chunin skills in Taijutsu and Fuinjutsu, while Kinjutsu and Ninjutsu are almost Jonin. Jinjutsu mustn't be very high. I wonder what other tricks my sister has in her sleeves. He thought. Hate announced the next match: Shikamaru Nara, Higurashi Tamari and Sabaku no Tamari. He said, the two women coming down instantly as Shikamaru took his time getting there. When he did, he saw the two women yelling curses at each other. He simply stood to a corner and watched the battle unfold as the proctor started the match. Tenten quickly threw kunai and shuriken at her, only for Temari to send them off with her fan. She opened it a bit. Do you see this? This is the first moon. This match will be over on the third move. She said, with Tenten scowling. She took out 2 scrolls and jumped into the air, opening the scrolls. She started spinning while yelling twin rising dragons. She released a hail of hundreds of various weaponry, with Temari blocking them off using her fan, now on the second moon. Tenten smirked, using chakra strings to control the weapons. However, it wasn't enough. Temari pushed them all back and opened the third moon. Sickle weasel. She said, releasing a large gale that trapped Tenten inside a vacuum mid-air. Hundreds of wind blades sliced her, forcing her into unconsciousness. Temari went below her and released the jutsu, wanting her to fall on her fan. However, she was forced to walk away. She turned, only to see her shadow, connected to Shikamaru's. She cursed, struggling to escape, however, Shikamaru kept forcing her into the direction of the wall. As she was closer to it and he was further, it didn't take her long to face the wall with the back of her head. He then threw his head back with force, her following him and getting her head slammed. He did this until she fell unconscious. Now you know how it is to show brutality. He said, then turned to the proctor, who nodded. Winner Shikamaru Nara. He said. No one said anything, but Shikamaru shrugged, going up the stairs slowly. Once he was up, Naruto sent him a nod of approval. Shikamaru nodded back and chose to sit next to him. You waited until one would be defeated once you noticed the sparks in their eyes, then used your skill to put the other down. And because she tried to go for overkill, you did so as well. A worthy strategy for a Nara. He said, with Shikamaru nodding with bored eyes. Thank you. He said, with Naruto nodding back and turning to the arena. Sabaku no Gaara, Rock Lee and Kai Kanjiki. He said, coughing a bit as the genins moved to the arena floor. Rock Lee fell into a taijutsu stance, Kai activated his bloodline on his arms, and Gaara started leaking sand from his gourd. Begin. Hey, it said. Rock Lee instantly rushed to Gaara, sending a high kick, only to be blocked by sand. He continued sending a barrage of fists until Gaara's sand caught his foot and sent him flying back. Gaara blocked a few metal orbs sent to his way by Kai. Kai rushed at him, followed by Lee. Gaara sent Lee flying as he captured Kai with his sand. With a smirk and an outstretched arm, he surrounded Kai in a tight orb of sand, then turned his hand into a fist sand burial. He said, as the sand tightened. The crushing sound was heard, along with the cracking of metal and the screams of Kai. The observers looked with wide eyes as blood flew out of the sand, with some looking in excitement, like Naruto. Gaara let the sand fall as Guy turned down to Lee. Take them off. He said, causing Lee to widen his eyes. But Guy-sensei, you said only in cases of extreme emergencies. Guy simply grinned with a thumbs up. I will allow it this once. He said with Lee nodding. He removed his weights from his legs and dropped them, cracks forming to the shock of the watchers. Lee smirked, rushing at high speeds, catching Gaara off guard. He managed to get a few hits, only for cracks to form on Gaara's face, which slowly healed. You can't pass my second defense. He said, smirking and sending more sand on him. Lee dodged it and muttered, sorry Guy-sensei, I have no choice. He made a hand seal and yelled, gate of opening. Activate. He said, rushing at Gaara at even more impressive speed and kicked Gaara to the air, to Gaara's surprise. He then appeared behind him, capturing him in a bear hug, then sent both of them to the ground hard while rotating. Lee struggled to get up as Gaara looked pissed. He sent a wave of sand that smacked Lee around. Lee dodged after a while. Gate of rest. Activate. Gate of life. Activate. He said. Energy started running off him as his eyes turned white and his skin red. He disappeared until Gaara felt a powerful kick that shattered part of his armor. He was sent flying, only to get kicked again. This continued, with Gaara getting smacked around until Lee punched him and kicked him at the same time. Reverse lotus. He yelled, falling to the ground in pain. He tried standing up with difficulty, feeling the increased fatigue as Gaara growled, trying to stand up. On the stands, the genins looked with open mouths. They never seen such a heated match. Naruto looked with a grin on his face. This is a very nice battle. Lee has impressed me so far. He thought. The Jounins were also impressed, while Kakashi berated Guy for teaching him so many gates. Gaara yelled in pain, a crazed look on his face. He sent sand at Lee, with Lee cursing and disappearing in pain. He looked at him then yelled, gate of pain. Activate. He said, rushing at Gaara faster, hitting him with everything he got. Gaara kept screaming until he was sent straight to a wall. Sand exploded around him, a large tidal wave of it going towards Lee. Lee punched through it as green energy rushed around him. Gate of closing. Activate. He yelled, sending a punch that shattered the ground in Gaara's face, cracking his entire armor and sending him to the ground. He tried standing up, fury in his eyes, as Lee collapsed to the ground. He sent his sand at him, surrounding his legs and breaking them, releasing yells of pain. Gaara was gonna crush him until Guy took him. Hayate shouted due to the interference of a sensei, Sabaku no Gaara is the winner. Gaara scowled, turning one to Naruto, only to get a nod. He nodded back, going up to the stands again. Shikamaru shuddered, as did most of the genin. He heard the proctor speak Nai-Yujido, Akatsuchi and Haku Mamachi. He said, the genin's going, with Naruto muttering a good luck to Haku, getting a slight nod. Begin. Said the proctor. Haku looked at her opponents taking out her senbon and throwing them quickly. She sent a small nod towards Yujido, who raised her eyebrow but nodded back. Haku rushed at Akatsuchi, throwing senbon, causing the large boy to dodge using Kawarimi. When he reappeared, he had to raise an earth wall, courtesy of a great fireball from Yujido. He growled then slammed his hands in the ground earth release. Earth golem. He said, sending the golem towards Yujido. He then rushed, with speed not thought possible for his body, at Haku, throwing punches at her. She blocked one and winced in pain, dodging the rest. Meanwhile, Yujido was battling the golem. While quite slow, it was durable and strong. It was a stalemate until Yujido had enough. She jumped back a few feet, surrounding herself with lightning chakra. She rushed at it, her arm outstretched. Lariat. She yelled, tearing the golem's head off. She kept skidding at fast speeds, dispelling the chakra, then jumped and did Hand Seal's fire release. Phoenix Age Flower Nail Crimson. She yelled, spitting out fire and releasing shuriken at the same time. The flaming shuriken rushed at Akatsuchi, causing him to raise another wall, blocking them effectively. He did Hand Seal's earth release. Flying thrown stones. He said the wall breaking into stones, flying towards them. Haku did Hand Seal's water release. Gunshot. She said, firing water balls at the stones, destroying most of them, while having to dodge some. At the same time, Yujido sped at Akatsuchi, forcing him into a taijutsu match. Then, Haku did Hand Seal's water release. Water colliding wave. She yelled, making a water vortex and sending a wave towards her enemy. Yujido smirked, sending a fast punch at a pressure point on Akatsuchi's leg, causing him to fall on one knee. She then jumped above him, then sent him in the direction of the water with a powerful step kick. Akatsuchi crashed headfirst into the wave, and when he came out he skidded to the ground, his eyes rolled behind his head. Both women then turned to each other, Haku panting, while Yujido simply smirked, falling into a stance. Some genin cheered, others frowned upon the teamwork, but nonetheless clapping ensued. Naruto clapped as well, satisfied at the way this match was going so far that Iwanin was good. Earth ninjutsu, good speed and strength, complementing his all-around style. He was just unlucky. Those two control 4 of the 5 elements together. Their teamwork was good, even if they don't know each other. Yujido's close combat kept him at a distance, while Haku's long-range skill supported her. Those two are good, however, they both now know each other's perks. And Haku is meant to lose, for despite that Kumonin being an all-around fighter, she possesses the Nibi no Nekomata, from what I sense. He thought. Yujido looked at Haku. Oh, don't tell me that's it. This match is too good for me to win just by you falling unconscious, she said. Haku smirked, preparing herself as white-blue chakra was released, the arena getting colder. Don't underestimate me. She said, her eyes glowing with an ice-blue color. Yujido smirked, fire surrounding her as lightning cackled, her eyes glowing with chakra. I could say the same to you. She said, rushing at high speeds at her. Haku rose her hands certain kill ice spears. She said, spikes rising meters in front of Yujido. She frowned and jumped above them. Haku turned her hand into a fist, the spikes blasting off towards her. She widened her eyes. Fire release. Great fireball. She released a giant fireball towards the spikes, an explosion ensuing. However, from the smoke came a few, dodging them, but getting a deep scar on her left bicep. She growled, diving into the ground, then with a pulse of chakra from her legs, she blasted towards Haku, turning her nails into claws. Haku cursed, making a sword of ice. They clashed, but it was clear Yujido held the advantage. She dodged a swing, to slice at her legs. She then sent a kick at her head, throwing her back. She placed a hand on her hip. Give up. She said. Haku rose never. Then did a Hand Seal secret technique. Demonic mirroring ice crystals. She yelled, as ice mirrors surrounded Yujido in a dome. Haku's reflection appeared on every mirror. Give up, you can't track my movements. Yujido scanned around, only to get a senbon at her shoulder. She growled, turning only to get another at her leg. This continued for a minute until Yujido was a pincushion. Yujido growled, chakra rolling off her enough. She yelled, jumping high into the air, forming Hand Seal's fire release. Intelligent hard work. She shouted, sending a small fireball at the ground. As soon as it touched the surface, a large explosion appeared, a fiery blast incinerating all the mirrors. As soon as it was over, Yujido stood, part of her clothes burned, Haku below her, also burned, immobile. Hayate nodded. Winner is Nai Yujido. Yujito nodded, going up the stairs. All the genins were gawking at such a battle. Naruto smirked, his eyes closed. Oh yay, definitely the Jinchuriki of the Nibi. Only the Jinchuriki of the Nibi, Yanbi and Kyuubi, along with the Uchiha clan members, have shown such power over fire. He thought. He soon turned his head to the announcement of the next match. Sakura Haruno, Ino Yamanaka and Inoue Orihime. He said, the girl's going down. Naruto looked at Orihime intently. She stood at 5'2", with brown eyes and long burnt orange hair. She had a curvaceous figure, but what caught Naruto's attention were her large breasts. Goddamn, those could only be rivaled by the ones Tsunade Senju has. He thought. She wore what appeared to be a white battle dress. Suddenly, she looked at him, he looked back. She blushed slightly and turned back at her opponents. Naruto suddenly felt his instincts growling to tame her, but he pressed them down, shaking his head, as the proctor said begin. With a cough. Inoue looked at her opponents with worry. Ino and Sakura were looking at each other with lightning shooting from their eyes. They immediately charged at each other, starting a taijutsu match. They fought with punches, kicks and kunai. They seemed evenly matched until Ino did a sweep kick that sent Sakura to the ground, then jumped on her and kneed her stomach. Sakura yelled in pain and used kawarimi. Ino turned only to shoot 5 kunai at 5 Sakuras, with them turning to smoke. She did the same tactic 3 times until Sakura sucker punched her face. Ino stumbled back, sending a few shuriken at her. Sakura dodged them as she also went back. Ino then used her family's jutsu while sending 2 kunai her way. She tried to dodge, but found herself stuck as Ino entered her head, then left just moments before the kunai struck her. Sakura gasped in pain, falling to the ground. Ino went her way and headbutted her, only to hold her head in pain as blood flowed from it. She turned to see Sakura unconscious. She then panted, turning to her opponent, only to get hit by a glowing orb of light right in her forehead. She dropped unconscious as Orihime had a hand forward. She gasped and approached her, tapping her a bit. She then smiled awkwardly. Proctor-san. I think she's out. She said, with Hayate nodding. Winner Inoue Orihime. He then turned to the Hokage, who nodded. Hayate nodded back and said there will be a 10-minute break for all those with unfinished business and for refreshments. He said, with the genins going to converse with the winners. Naruto looked at Shikamaru, who was asleep. He simply shook his head, closing his eyes, but opening them again at the sound of an excuse me. He turned, only to find Orihime. He looked at her. Congratulations on your match. He said, causing her to smile. Why thank you. She said, then looked at him with a tilt of her head. Are you Uzumaki Naruto? She asked, with him nodding. She raised her arm. Pleasure to meet you. I am Inoue Orihime. She said. Naruto took her arm and laid a kiss on it, causing her to blush madly. It is a pleasure, Orihime-chan. He said with a smirk. She simply nodded as she poked her fingers together. Good luck in your match. She stuttered out, rushing off, with Naruto smirking. Inside though, he wondered. Inoue, where have I heard that name before? He thought. Soon the break finished. Hayate coughed. Alright. Now, it is the turn of Sabaku no Kankuro, Menma and. What if Naruto is an alpha werewolf in Konoha? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.